Good evening and welcome to episode 7 of the Witch King podcast. I'm joined today with my usual guests and hosts, I guess, Dave, Liddle and Mark. How are you doing?
Good.
Doing good, man.
Good stuff. The listeners won't realise, but we're on about take 75 of this episode, so hopefully it goes a bit smoother.
Feeling merry.
Aye.
Feeling pippin'.
There's somebody didn't get the memo though.
Mark's feeling a bit pippin'.
Aye, not really following the dress code, but you can blame my dog for that.
Aye, what did the dog do?
Sweating hot.
That'll make so much sense to the listeners.
The dog shat on my jumper is what happened.
Great content. You want to get through the episode without us bringing that up at some point.
The dog obviously heard that you left early at Scouring and was like, nah, I'm up, no.
Now, fuck this guy.
Karma.
We want to get all the jokes out the way now.
Get all the mark abuse out the way in the first minute of the podcast.
My owner needs some shit for doing that.
Well, I guess speaking of Scouring, it's probably a natural segue.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while since we released an episode. We were firing them out two in a week, and then we just kind of didn't do any for a couple of weeks, but not been many events really since, if any. I mean, Scouring being the only event, it must be, since the Scouring preview episode, or not obviously Fraser's event, which I think we'll cover in more detail next episode, which is bringing them out quite quick around the Christmas period. Today we're just going to focus a bit on Scouring because it deserves that, being one of the biggest events of the year. So I guess we'll just get straight into it then. First of all, get into the first old podiums as we always do. It was an 800-point event, I guess, before we get into that. Two armies. If you joined the preview episode, you'll know a bit more detail. It's one army of good, one army of evil. Specifically, 6 games. You'll get 3 games good, 3 games evil. The way it works out is sort of like the pairing system that you use, Dave. Is that your own thing you and Stoffs, or is that a well-known? It's not. It's like Swiss, but not Swiss, isn't it? It's sort of like
I mean, it's kind of how most of these good v evil events goes, where again the first round is random. It's like you players roll off. You'll either use good or evil, and then you always use the opposite in the next game. So it's Swiss in a sense that the highest ranked player who played evil game 1 will play against the highest ranked player who played good, and but then they'll be using the opposite armies. What that can do, though, is if you have a bit of discrepancy in terms, there's a scenario that maybe particularly favours good armies, maybe the players who are first, second, third and fourth all used good in that particular game, so they're then playing against the people that are actually 5th, 6th, 9th and 10th or something like that. That can be, but it's as Swiss as it can get while allowing people to play both armies 3 times. And it's the same thing that like the Lord of the Rings GT and stuff's used for many a year at this point, and the other small amount of tournaments that do use good versus evil mostly follow the same thing. Yeah,
and really important on that, there's no redraws allowed, right? So literally, so first will never necessarily play second coming to the end unless it falls that way of good and evil, right?
They will, first and second will play each other in games 3 and game 5.
3 and 5.
Because that's where we do the other roll-off. We do the roll-offs again, game 3 and 5. But first and second
game
might
6,
not
obviously,
play each other game 6, yeah.
Yeah. It's strange that, but it's good. I think it's, from me, personal point of view, I think good v evil events are actually my favourite. I think the way the game plays is just a bit more fun, really. But cool, yeah. So to actually get into the podiums, then it was actually a very common name in these streets nowadays. It's Dave Farmer of England who drove up with Stephen Denby, I believe, just the 2 of them. It took the 7th GBHL 100 win of the season. Stats provided by Dave Reed, which is incredibly impressive, to be honest.
I think that's the record now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, I was chatting to Farmer about it. So he'd firstly never won Scouring before. We do have a long list of previous English winners. But he also, one of the other things he was aiming for this year was to win 700-point events, because it would be the first time that had been done by anybody. There's been a couple of times people have won 6 in a season, but nobody ever managed to win 7. So that was kind of one of his, no just aiming to win the GBHL, but aiming to win it by getting 700-point wins, and he managed to do it with a couple of tournaments to spare. So, massive result for him.
The region scores, because you know how the region's best 4 or 5, is it, for your region?
Best 4 for your region, yeah.
I take it tiebreakers are then just your 5th score, then your 6th score, and your 7th score.
Yeah, 5th, 6th, and 7th within the region, yeah.
Does it go to 8th? Because there's obviously, you could technically have a situation where you've got people that have won 7, because there's more than 14.
Yeah, technically,
events,
I think it was a couple years ago. There was a tie between Dave Farmer and Jake Rawson. I think that was back before we introduced the 6 scores to be your GBHL score. There was a tie, and it was going down to like the 6 score or something like that. That was back when it was only 4. So.
All right, that's mental. 7 GBHL 100 wins is absolutely nuts, and very well deserved, because he puts the time in, he knows the game well, and he Brown, I guess, to get into his list, the Surpers of Ereras. Now, I guess maybe doesn't surprise anyone, but with the amount of armies he's used this year, it could have been anything really. Balrogs, Men of the West, he's used everything that I've noticed, but a Surpers seems to be his end of season kind of thing. I don't know if anyone got much context off him why for this event, but I mean, it's for the listeners, it's audio listeners, it's just a bunch of Kerbrain. 13 Kerbrain. It was 13 Kerbrain, Freckle, Wolf, and some chieftains. So we've covered this to death, really.
Broken the arm, and I don't know what does.
Yeah,
I can give you a little bit of insight from talking to Dave. So we covered it on the last episode, but the scenarios were pre-selected, and the scenarios that we were using was Heirlooms, Ages Past, Escort the Wounded, Lords of Battle, Fog of War, Treasure Hoard, and Stake of Claim. And from chatting to Dave, he felt that this army, Surpers, were particularly good in 5 of the 6 missions. He was hoping to gamble on not getting them in Lords of Battle, which is one of their worst scenarios, but he felt that having such a high model count along with all the Kerbrain was going to be very useful, even though the Kerbrain can't interact with objects. But it was still going to be useful for like tar pitting people and stopping them from getting to objects, and then having a lot of guys to be able to do things like picking up the heirlooms in Heirlooms Ages Past, Treasure Hoard as well, which is a similar sort of thing. And then for Stake of Claim, again, just a lot of guys to get on the objectives, and the Kerbrain to try and prevent opponents from doing so, like just filling up wee choke points and stuff. So he was hoping he wouldn't have to play them in Lords of Battle. Unfortunately for him, that went wrong, and he did actually have to play them. Lords of Battle was game 3, and he played against Jamie Baxter. I can't exactly remember what Jamie was using. I think it might have been Battle of 5, but something dwarfy. I think you might know, Mark.
Not off the top of my head.
Got a feeling it might have been.
He has been using
He
has been using that a fair bit this year.
And Farmer actually had to...
Oh no, sorry, I do know he was using Men in the West.
Men in the West.
Sorry.
Farmer had to table him to win that, because Jamie was so far ahead on the kill count in Lords of Battle that he was going to win that, which is kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like Men in the West, like smaller army, much more elite, better troops, better heroes. The usurpers are going to be up against it, and I think that one went quite close to time, and Farmer was just able to table him, which gave him the win. And if he hadn't done that, then that would have been a loss, which probably would have cost him the tournament. I think, in terms of how the other results went, you kind of had to. At worst, a draw would keep you in it, but a loss was probably going to take you out it. So he managed to get the table on that one. The gamble kind of, even though he gambled and it went the wrong way, he still managed to pull out the result.
So all the Scots have got Jamie Baxter to blame.
There's always someone, I guess.
I mean, all he had to do is protect one guy. Any one guy.
LSR getting protected. Anyway, his good army, which is a bit more interesting to speak about, is Raddy's Alliance. And I've kind of got one eye on this list, because Not much of it's been used, I guess. I mean, certainly I've not played against it. Can someone remind me exactly what the Legion rules? Because there is something where did they get a free move?
Yeah.
What's the rules again?
So I ran this at 900 points at Battle of Green Hollow earlier in the really early in edition. I think Green Hollow was in February this year, and they have a couple of things in there. They still get the Eagles will get the +1 strength on the charge like they do in the Eagles list, which is important because just that push up to strength 7 is really, really good. But Beorn has a thing where if Beorn kills all the models he's in combat with, he gets to call a free hero move the next turn.
It's really good.
Which is great. And then the other thing they get, which I think is quite nice and good for evil, particularly at higher points, I don't think it's a Legion rule particularly, but Radagast gives out magic resistance to any friendly eagles within 12 inches of him. So, like, there's quite a few waves and stuff in Saruman about.
Yeah. I feel like Raddy's, in a way, the weak point of it, which is a strange thing to say, because he's obviously good. A lot of points, though it dies easily if he loses a combat. That's only
he's a general that can give up the wound point quite easily. Yeah, he does have renew and stuff, but even if he renews himself, if he's wounded, he still gives up the point.
I did speak to him a little bit about the Alliance, and he did say it was just the scenarios, because there was, similar to some of the guys took eagles and whatnot, and different flavours of eagles. There was like a lot of the missions, like, you know, Score to the Wounded is great for that. We also played Stake a Claim, didn't we? I think it's quite good on that. It's kind of debatable, that one, but there's loads of good scenarios for them. Obviously Lords of Battle as well.
He got
something else I'm missing.
They've got
Treasure Hoard.
Treasure Hoard he played with the Eagles. Fog of War he played with the Eagles, and I'm not sure which one of the two he played game 1, but I think the Eagles, they're pretty good at scouring. Heirloom's Age of Past, we've called it scouring just as a kind of callback to earlier years, but they're pretty good at that, and they are also pretty good at Sort of Wounded. So I don't not exactly sure which way round he played those two games, but I think both armies are fine in both of those missions.
Specifically remember, because they were on the table playing Dobby next to me.
Yeah.
And he got the Eagles on Treasure Hoard against the Dobby's Spiders, which was doing really well. And if it went another way, if it was the Usurpers into Dobby's Men of the West Eagles list, they both admitted it would have been drastically different, but it's just the way it happened, I guess.
And it was fun. It's interesting to see Farmer's reaction to playing against the Brood of the Spider Queen, because, like, despite all these hundreds and stuff he's been to, he hadn't played against it at all. So I think he quite enjoyed the challenge of playing against an army that he was, like, pretty unfamiliar with, which was cool. It was cool to see how that army do so well after we'd spoke about it on the podcast as well, as a bit of a kind of wild card pick. And then suddenly it's on table 1, game 5. Like, Dobby had went 4-0 with it before losing to Farmer game 5. But I think definitely having the Usurpers for Stake of Claim is just better. Like, that's the way around. He got the crucial pairing right when it's game 5 and 6. I think it was important to get the Radagast Alliance for game 5, being Treasure Hoard, especially against those spiders, and to again have so many models for Stake of Claim is definitely a good way to get that. So I kind of fell into place nicely for him there. But 6 wins, 5 of which were major for Dave and 1 minor.
Good list.
Who's good list?
Dobby's
good list was Men of the West, but it was like Elisar on foot with Gwahir and as many eagles as you can get.
Yeah, I think it was 4 eagles. I think Gwahir and Elisar. Got a feeling, or maybe it's 5.
Actually, it's decent. Like, I mean, the thing is, you go pure eagles, and like the main thing is the +1 strength, and then obviously the screech. But if the screech doesn't pan out, then arguably having just Aragon for the might, it's obviously pros and cons of everything. But
I think Eagles, like the Eagles list, 800 is pushing a bit high for them to be good, really. So I think it's cool to see people doing slightly different things, like taking Radagast Alliance or taking Men of the West. So you've got Aragon in there for the free might. instead of just taking the
That
Eagles. I
free
think
bite,
that
I
is
think, for
better.
Eagles is huge.
Agreed. Yeah, very well done, Dave Farmer. Can say nothing about him. It hasn't been said. I've played against him myself, and quite honestly, it's not just luck. Obviously, everybody needs a bit of luck, which I'll come on to myself, but it's 700 wins is outrageous.
Yeah, and it's just a huge amount of commitment. I mean, like, again, he said at the start of the season he was going to go to every single GBHL 100 this year, and barring anything tragic happening before the finale, he's going to have completed his aim by the end of the year. And
to clear that up for the listeners, that was 100 wins, not 700 wins.
aye, yeah, 7 GBHL 100 wins.
Mate, it's a Scottish podcast. People will understand.
They'll know. But aye, yeah, no, it's very well done and very well deserved league victory as well. I guess like we'll probably talk a bit more about who's won some end of year awards, especially the region and stuff, which is very much still up for grabs in the next episodes. But I think that by getting that 7th GBHL 100 win, that confirms Dave as he's just GBHL champion in waiting now.
Yeah.
Mr. 2025.
Yeah.
I actually don't think he needed to win. I'm pretty sure he said it didn't matter. It was actually he'd already won the league.
I think because Denby isn't going to the finale, like there was a world where if Denby had won like the last 300s, then he would have caught him, but he was never going to the finale. So.
Oh, right, okay.
Denby's not that good.
No, he told me he falls asleep listening to this podcast, so I don't like him anymore in any heroics. It's shit.
It's crap. I mean, they didn't even do episodes, to be fair. So they didn't even provide content for us to sleep to anymore. Far less. He's a busy man, though. He's the new GBHL coordinator. That was some breaking news for the week. Dewey had stepped down, so Denby's the new man in charge.
What's Parkhill stepping down from? That's
from
like
the media officer. So like Harry does all of the like the GBHL blogs and like publicising and that sort of stuff. He stepped down as well. A few other committee changes, but Denby's the new top man.
I hear he's starting a band. You know, he's looking for a guitarist, singer, just to go along with his drum kit.
I think Harry's probably the fact he's got a child now that life is hitting hard.
I think that's the same for a few people.
Talking of Father of the Year.
Father of the Year. I have some stories like that. Really that one.
Second place went over to myself, believe it or not. Yes, round of applause, everyone. Yeah. Thank you very much. It was all for the doubters and the non-believers. Get up, please.
I think there's at least one doubter here, if I remember how we ended our scouring preview, and I was like, well, one of you guys could maybe be like our first winner or our first second place, and there was definitely at least one person that was saying it wouldn't be you, Casper, but you managed to prove the doubters wrong.
The doubters, the doomsters, the gloomsters, they are going to get it wrong.
Lidl's a hater.
First ever Scottish second place.
That part out.
Now,
I don't want to hear you say you're rusty ever again.
Well, like truthfully,
he's oiled those hinges.
Well, I speak a lot to kind of Ian about this, and my biggest goal was definitely to do well at 100 this year. Not that I take winning 90s or podium at 90s or having fun at 90s, full stop of what you're, regardless of where you finish, is for granted, because you always need a bit of luck and everything, but I was just majorly pleased because this was definitely like a goal of mine. And the only sad thing is I didn't lose a game at it, and it's so to be that close, really, because honestly, I didn't play Dave, which will go into my games a little bit in depth, but to not have played Dave and like to be that close, it's kind of, I know you should look at the positives, because coming second's amazing, and as Dave said, it is the highest finish for somebody Scottish at the Scouring, which I don't know if I think we need to up our game a bit, because that's a bit of a sad stat, to be honest, but in 12 years especially. But
easy for you to say now.
Aye. Do you know, sometimes it's like the luck was there, like, and I'll go into my games, but everything was going right at times at crucial points, and I'm like, that luck in place, and you're like, all I needed was, because I actually came down But I need to double check, but possibly if Danny Walker had beaten Dave, I might have snuck the win. So
yeah,
that's how close it came.
There was, going into that final game, I hadn't really publicised this or told the players involved, but going into the final round, there was only 3 people who could still win the tournament. You were one of them. Danny Walker was the other one, and Dave. But in order to jump Dave, Danny had to get a major win. That would have pushed him above Dave if he had. But if you had also got a major win, you would have went above Danny and Dave at that point. If Danny only gets a minor win against Dave, Dave's still above Danny, but you could still go above both of them with a major win. So you needed Danny to win that game, and then you two get equally as big a win or better than Danny for you to catch both of them. And very close to pulling it off, man.
Yeah. The final actual did get a major,
fault, but we've not had a Scottish win yet.
Yeah.
It's because I can't play in it, really. I mean, that's the big thing, isn't it?
I also just shouldn't have drawn against Stuart, but I mean, and another thing as well, I want to just point out that before I kind of go into my own sort of games, because obviously I don't have Stuart here today to go into more detail, but him coming third, shit hot as well. So well done, Stuart. I mean, we had a fucking quality game 4 as well. So, yeah, I feel like I'm getting a lot of the flowers for coming second, but fucking coming third is shit hot as well. So, and to be honest,
it's a great
game 4.
Great achievement for Stuart as well, because I mean, it's obviously it's the first person ever to come second at the event. It's the first time we've had 2 Scots on the podium, but we haven't even really had that many third places over the years. There's only been 5 or 6. So to add his name to that list of another Scottish player that's podium scouring, it is a very short list. So really well done for Stuart. Built on his 5th place finish from last year as well. So it's done a lot of good for him in the region, and obviously Top Scot and stuff as well, which again we'll probably touch on more next episode. But
yeah, he's going to finale as well. So
no, unfortunately, he had to drop out. Sadly, because if he had went to finale, he definitely would have had an opportunity to get that regional podium, because he's not too far behind me at the moment. He's 4th in the region just now.
Fair play. I mean, he's expecting a child, I believe, April, March sort of time, so it'll be the end of him coming soon as well. We're talking to him about that.
We're just going to have a GBHL team for dads at this point.
Yeah.
Another team I can't join.
I mean, you wouldn't score any points because you'll not be at any events, but still.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but Dobie is a father, me, Stuart, we were up there at the end. That's obviously, that's the sauce, secret sauce.
Jamie?
Working well for Weavis this
I don't know what, Jamie, I don't know. Aye, Jamie's...
Jamie's one of those few Scots that's podium scouting, to be fair.
Yes, aye.
Oh, Jamie's class.
No, Jamie always does. Jamie always does well at scouting, actually. His record's pretty strong.
I think Jamie's sort of had a similar issue to me. I spoke to him a bit. Is settling on an army, because I noticed he's jumping around with his evil armies a lot to trying to settle on something, and it takes a bit of time. Anyway, right, let's get into this, because I want to run through some of my games. I think it'll be interesting to hear, because I had some really interesting opponents, some good matchups, and I like speaking and people listening to me, so we'll do that. And then we'll maybe go into some of...
There's no anyone else.
No, nobody but... No, of course, any questions, stop me and ask, but I'll run through my games quickly, just so people have an understanding of how it went.
I guess in terms of your lists, obviously you went in pretty in depth on the preview episodes, but maybe worth just having a quick go over the factions that you picked and kind of roughly how the lists were constructed. And if people do want to hear more about it, the preview episodes, you've spoke quite at length about it. So, then we can...
I mean, so honestly, hold my hand up, I've not had a whole lot of time this edition to practice much, and I kind of went into it thinking I love Halls of Thranduil thematically, and I'm just going to run them. I'm going to paint them up as good as I can, and I think they look quite good, and just kind of go with it. And it turned out that the rules of them were always good, and I think people sort of went off them a bit when all the new stuff came out, because they don't have the banners, and maybe they were kind of tried and tested a bit, but I just kept running it, because Many of the West to me to be boring, and that was my other alternative for good. So the big difference, I guess, with this version of Halls of Thranduil is I definitely go for the captain overtaking Toriel. I spoke a bit to Finlay about this as well. He was quite keen on taking the captain and Toriel and going down the model count. It takes you quite a bit down though, to maybe 30. So I have 42 models for anyone listening, and it's just Thranduil on foot, Legolas on foot, obviously with his cloak and the armour for the Thranduil, then the Glaive captain. And the Glaive captain is just fucking shit hot nowadays, really. Just so useful. And I'll be honest, not that he's sort of reinvented the wheel, but it was that episode when Finlay came on here and spoke about like needing to have March in the lists, and I think at the time he was practicing a lot and doing really well at the start of the edition, and I was really slow to adapting to that. I didn't find March much use a lot of time last edition, or I just maybe wasn't using it correctly. I'm not too sure. But this edition with the new scenarios and things, I just think having March is just like almost always needed. I can't think of a scenario unless you're already fast if you're mounted maybe, but if you're like a foot army like this, with 42 elves, 800 points is really fucking good. So you just need to get that march in. I don't think dropping down to have Toriel as well would have helped. I just like having the high break point and more glaives, which are just shit hot. So fucking it, this list is really good. I think it has its limitations. And actually, to go into a little bit of detail, I do think in Good v Evil, it really shines because right now, I think there's a ton of sort of Urukai-based armies that are doing well, whether that's maybe not Urukai, but Strength 4 based. So like, Jesus Christ, like Muster of Isengard, fucking, oh my god, my head's gone completely blank. What's the one with Saruman?
The Saruman and Grima, the
Hands,
White
Hand,
Hands. Yeah.
yeah.
Muster
White
Isengard, of
Hand,
course,
Muster.
was the second most popular evil army at the tournament behind Depths Moria. And then we kind of, again, we spoke about in the last episode about why in Good versus Evil you kind of expect to see quite a bit of muster because you are, the Hatred Men and stuff like that's going to be really useful for them. The Free March, which they get in a lot of these missions, is going to be super useful as well. So, they were one that we'd expect to see a lot.
Well, that's the thing, and the Strength 4 with like a lot of those armies are doing really well. It doesn't matter massively if you're D6 or D5 because obviously you're dying on 5s anyway. So the glaives play extremely well into that because you're D5, which is generally a drawback from shooting especially, but there's a lot less shooting that I find now in the game. People are more inclined to drum and just move full speed most of the time because you need to be somewhere. And so the shooting doesn't matter too much. And by the time you hit combat, having the 2 dice at fight 5, at least with your glaives, it's just so good.
What does the glaives do again?
So you have to choose if you want to take 2 dice to win the duel roll, but then obviously you just get 1 dice to strike, or you take 1 dice to win the duel roll and 2 dice to strike, providing you're not supported by, so like, they're still spears. So if you have a spear backed up, a glaive backed up by a glaive, they're just spears, right? So that's like you have 2 dice, you're still fight 5, plus 1 to wound potentially next to Thranduil, which is really important. But when it comes down to like the game 1, so I'll come into it then. So game 1 was against Andrew Stone, and he had Depths of Moria, had a Balrog, 3 or 4 captains. I want to say 4 actually. And obviously a big part of that game came down to me trying to cut it a wee bit short, get the heirloom off the Balrog, which was a pain in the arse. I mean, most of the time you think the game's over, but when you have a glaive, right, if you get 1 glaive, like even if you get 5 glaives into the Balrog, then it's like, 5 dice to win the fight, and then you can take the 2 dice to wound each, because the main thing with this is, and I've not been corrected by anyone, so I'll be cheating if I am, but it is actually 2 attacks. It's not 2 strikes. So if you're trapped, a glaive is going to be doing 4 strikes to you.
Yeah.
To wound you.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, because a lot of the time, if you're near Thranduil, then you're getting 4 dice on a single glaive to wound you at +1 to wound. I mean, fucking hell. It's really good. And eventually, I actually killed the Balrog, so I'm not really telling this well in terms of how the game went. But anyway, and then my other army was Minas Morgul. I'll go through that quickly. I was quite an interesting read on that one because I listened to Gollum's Gamers, shout out. Listened to Ali King speak about the event at Minas Morgul. He was like, what was your opinions on that and Good v Evil? And I get the feeling that people think Minas Morgul was going to be worse against Good because you're wounding on higher courage, but I just don't agree with that for a second, to be honest, because with evil armies, you're generally speaking don't win the fights anyway. What you need to do if you win the fight with the evils, you need to kill. So it's not actually about winning. Obviously into an evil army, you might win more fights, but when you're fighting elves, if you're killing them on 5s or killing Minas Tirith Men of the West on 4s with Minas Morgul 6 points orcs, it's really good. But anyway, they've got a drum, they've got a Witch King, they've got a caster, they've got spectres. I loved Cardouche. He was so fucking good. So anyway,
I know certainly from a dwarf player point of view that being wounded on someone that isn't a 6 is pretty annoying. The Minas Morgul playing into good armies that typically a lot of time rely on that high defense. Being able to wound them on 5s and stuff is actually super useful, especially with the numbers that you're bringing.
It's all comparative, right? Like if you're playing against evil and you're playing against a bunch of modern orcs and you would be wounding them on 5s normally and you're now wounding them on 4s, you're effectively playing with a +1 to wound. And then if you compare that to like fighting Gondor, you would be wounding them on a 6 and now you're wounding them on a 5. And same goes for dwarves, where you would be wounding them on a 6 and now you're wounding them on a 5. So it's...
And also you can play things like Arnor, and I played Arnor in one of the games and that's funny, killing them on...
you kill them on 4.
Yeah, because their courage is bad.
Yes.
Does Harbinger still affect it?
No, not
anymore.
Not anymore. All right, okay.
My God,
I thought that's why that was I feel like it's a big hit to the King of the Dead. Like in the old edition, you were able to kill pretty much everything on 4s, or if you played evil, you would be killing orcs on 3s. Because that's where the Arm of the Dead lack, is the fact that they can't really win that many fights, but when they do, they need to make sure they kill.
Yeah, it's kind of like that with the Minas Morgul. I mean,
you're stuck with fight 3 as well, aren't you?
Yeah, well. So obviously you can take the Morannons with the Minas Morgul, which means that going into humans, you actually can get fight 4, which is dead useful, and
especially Good v Evil.
Yeah, so you're playing against a lot of that. A lot of D6 is good. You get the drum. The mount against Connor, I killed 2 banners just by spectering because their courage is crap. He spectre the support on the banners, or basically the banners not backed up, and then he just Cardouche killed 2 banners in that game against him. It was so good. I just loved it.
I had the exact same setup in my game 4. We're doing the exact same thing with Cardouche. He's fantastic for it.
Yeah.
Just anything that can reach through your opponent's lines and snipe things is always going to be good. It's the thing that I think some people have gotten held up on a little bit with the nerf to Black Dart, is that it's like it's nothing like it used to be, but it's still one of the only few tools that can fill that role.
100% still useful. People are a bit overreacting on it. Anyway, I'm going to go through the games quickly because I'm not doing this in a great stink. It's just like a brain fart because the event now was 3 weeks ago, was it?
Coming up with 3 weeks ago now, yeah. You obviously spoke a bit about your first game with Andy already. Like I watched some of that game, and as soon as I seen that the Balrog had the heirloom, I'm like, oh, okay, this might not be a great one for Casper, because I was looking around it and I was like, oh, it was a pretty bad day for the Witch King podcast. I was like, it looks like all 3 of the hosts are going to lose. And then I think Ian, it was just after the game had finished, it was during lunch, I was like, bad one for the Witch King podcast, everybody lost. And Ian's like, nah, Casper won. And I was like, oh, what? Did he? I was like, the last time, I was under their table with 15 minutes to go and the Balrog had the prize.
Do you know, it sucks so much because it was heirlooms in the 6. It turned out like, I think he maybe burned, like, it's not burning like it used to be. Last edition, you burned them and it was just like really a bad thing. But nowadays, you kind of want to burn it because it's like, it's different the way the heirloom works, right?
You're getting the VPs just for burning them, which
is nice. But also it makes no odds because the heirloom is the heirloom. You're not. There's no luck in terms of rolling the dice. You know what I mean? So he's like taken 3 near him, and I was like, or at least 2 near him, and I was like, oh, I mean, I have a huge chance now of it being near me, and it just wasn't. It kept burning and burning and burning, and I was like, fuck me, it's the one next to the Balrog. And that game, like, I get mad respect to how good depth, so I hadn't played against them somehow, all edition, and I just, it's actually the power, as you've all probably found out, the power's in the goblins, it's not really in the Balrog. Especially, this is where my D5 was a problem, because all across the board they're getting banners, they're all strength 3, they're just killing my glaives on 5s, so it wasn't amazing. But the march on the captain, double march across the board, was huge, and basically that game just come down to the fact on like the last turn, the Balrog failed a sentinel check when he got the heirloom and tried to run away with it, but he failed a clutch sentinel check, and the sentinels are just so good. Oh my god, they won this. Well, they're the reason why I probably came second, and he pulled them back in, and I got enough guys round the Balrog, and as I explained, I got enough glaives into him, and he'll remember I still had to wound with Thranduil. I didn't even roll to wound with Thranduil. It was just the glaives. Like, I think it was 2 turns maybe. It was like 4 wounds one turn, 6 wounds the next turn, just killed them. It was outrageous.
Can they go 2-handed as well?
No, unfortunately
not. Get +1 with Thranduil being next.
They're so good. I mean, points efficiency is great as well. And it was quite funny though. Tony will remember this. Like, Thranduil probably should have died a turn before or something, and he was set ablaze with the Balrog rule, and he was down to no fate, 1 wound, but he was on fire. So every turn it was like Thranduil was going to die here to be on fire. And in the combat to see who took the heirloom, he was like, do you want to roll to see who it goes on? I was like, because I was more just celebrating the fact I killed him in the last turn. And I was like, oh no, I'll put it on Thranduil. Like, why? And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I don't think I can choose to put it on Thranduil because it's just not the way it would have worked. We were just kind of playing it quick with time and stuff, and nobody was that, it wasn't going to affect anything. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, aye, of course, why wouldn't I put it on Thranduil? And then like, I think I went to the next combat and I was like, fuck, no. Thranduil's on fire. He's going to die with the heirloom, and to put it back onto a troop, and he was laughing. So that would have been a bit of a blunder. I wouldn't have changed the game, but Thranduil nearly died in the last turn with him on fire with the heirloom. Yeah,
it could change the difference to a major to a minor victory as well, because you needed to have the heirloom in your possession to get the major victory. So that'd be quite a funny way to know.
Easy to forget. Yeah.
At any point was the Balrog transfixed?
No, he wasn't. No, but he did get Sentinel transfixed in a way. It's not transfixing, because the guy's only intelligence 5, so like, or 6. I think it is 5, but it just takes you to fail one of them. It's just so good.
It's such a big centerpiece model that if it does mess up a turn, like fails one of those tests, or that, it's huge. Like, it's a lot bigger than doing it to like just a random troop.
It's not an army that can survive losing its big centerpiece model. The moment if you do kill it, that's the game is.
Well, that was the last
almost 100% of the time it's wrapped. If there is any turns left in the game, because with it just immediately breaking, all the goblins just fuck off, even with the +1 of the courage.
It's literally the last.
They don't really run away because they've got +1 to courage now, so they're above averagely passing courage tests. You're having to make a lot of them, but they're still sticking around.
In my experience, the army is still melted the moment the Balrog died.
I didn't kill much. Honestly, this game was clutch. Like, as we go on to game 2, actually game 2 would probably be my only comfortable game, as I'm sure Dougie Moore wouldn't mind me saying, to be honest. That was game 1.
I was going to say, just before we move on to not to like pull them on horn or that so much, but just to get a bit of feedback on them. What did people think of the heirlooms markers that we gave away in the welcome bag?
I thought that was really good.
Little heirlooms markers.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, class.
Because the new with the way that the scenario works now, with it being predetermined which one is the heirloom and it being marked on the bottom of the base of the heirloom of whichever one it is that of the 6 objectives that you're using, I was kind of going into it a little bit, and still am a little bit worried that at some tournaments you might end up using that and people will be able to come up with ways to know which one is the heirloom without it being wonderfully obvious to their opponent. And it now means that tournaments do basically have to provide their own tokens for that scenario in order to avoid that issue. If that even becomes a problem, I might be being overly paranoid.
Even that, though, I'm pretty sure I could easily chip away a part of one of the letters.
Exactly, yeah. Like you could do something like that. But the ones
I could do that with scouring ones. I could do that with any objective marker, make a tiny mark on my objective so I know.
Yeah, you absolutely could. And that could be a problem with it. But the ones that you gave us, assuming people aren't acting in bad faith and doing that, also you'd have to do it pretty quick. I thought they were really good. They worked really well. There was no way to tell, and I don't think anybody that I spoke to about it, because I had the conversation with a number of folk, said that I don't think anyone seemed to have that issue crop up at all. So I thought they worked really well.
I was really pleased with how they turned out. Just a bit of shout out to Charles Sims from Fantasy 3D Terrain. That's who we worked on with those. Obviously, we done a design in terms of what we wanted on it, and he made them up for us and got them set up. We had our hero postman, Mr. Liddell, was able to sort them, deliver them to me as well, which was good. But as soon as we knew we were taking heirlooms and we'd read how it worked, I was like, we need for this to be a playable mission, organizers almost needs to get some sort of custom objective markers for it to actually work. And obviously, it's been kind of like our trademark mission over the years. I was like, well, hopefully we can be the first people to do it. And as I say, happy with how they turned out. And we had quite a few questions in the run-up to it, going like, how are you guys playing heirlooms? And I was like, just wait. We'll all be revealed on the day, but don't worry, we have thought about it. But
I think there's a way, there are clever ways to you could maybe get around the marking thing, but yeah, let's not go into too much detail.
No,
I just
really just more to talk about. Yeah, we talk about them, give Charles a shout out as well, and just see what your guys' thoughts were before we move on to the second game. So your second game, you'd have been using.
I'm always a fan of. I'm always a fan of giveaways for events. Like, makes them that much better.
There was tons of giveaways. What we'll do is I'll run through these. I'll not bore you all, and we'll get through, because there's a lot of hobby to get through, which is awesome for the event and raffles and whatnot. So we'll come on to that.
Yeah, but your second game, you would have been playing with your Evil.
Yep, Dougie Moore. And I'll be honest, it was like my first time ever using Minas Morgul. I hadn't had time to practice. Been crazy with life just now, and probably as good a matchup really I could have asked for, because Dougie Moore was using just pure London, and it was like Gorfindale, Gil-galad, which is, which is not that good, is it? Gil-galad, Glorfindel, Cardan was good, but it's just a perfect matchup for me because I'm just so much faster. We were playing a what were we playing? A Score of the Wounded.
You're so much faster. Game 2.
That was Score of the Wounded, yeah.
That was faster.
Sorry, Casper, you're so much faster.
Aye. What do you mean?
It's a good one, that. I like it.
I'm confused.
I've got me baffled.
I was trying to make a funny joke about you being a slow player as opposed to your army.
Actually, by the way, really, I know, I'm coming from Lidl, literally, like, it was like, did you not play, like, what game, Heirlooms or something, and you stood in the corner and shot someone with that?
No, but my opponent had the heirloom, so that would be absolutely suicide.
Well,
facts.
If it wasn't you, it would be suicide, but you'd still do it.
He would.
There's a lot of shooting that boy.
Yes. So I was a lot quicker. I had the drum. I just marched up the table with the heirlooms and stuff. The
wounded guys, yeah.
It was just really hard for him because, like I say, I'm wounded his elves on 5s. He doesn't have a model advantage. Gil-galad, I mean, the problem with Gil-galad is he just doesn't. I'm not even, but it's as threatened from Gil-galad as you would be threatened from, like, I don't know, a twin going two-handed with 3 attacks. It's not that different, is it? I mean, it's such a shame. He doesn't really offer much, and he's nearly 100.
He's just so slow.
He's slow. But he doesn't kill, like, he's no threat. Like, you're not that bothered.
a lot of these really, really big heroes that are existing at that, he's like 175, right? Something like that?
He's not cheap, yeah.
Somewhere in that area. They all have something that lets them make back their value a bit quicker, even if that's something as simple as a horse, which Gil-galad doesn't have, but it's comparable to someone like Elendil, who's on a similar points level when he gets a free heroic combat every turn. And those kinds of heroes, but he just has none of that. Like, he's got the Fight 9, and that's really big this edition. Or the rest
he lost
of it
strike as well, so it's like...
But yeah, he's lost strike, so he can't go to 10. He's not got access to like free heroic combats or anything. He's got nothing to help him get around the board any quicker. He's just, it's a lot of points for something that's going to really struggle to make his points back.
I don't think losing strikes that big.
No.
It's more the fact.
Probably across the Balrog.
The only thing it affects is the fact that he can't give. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Is the only thing that affects is the fact he can't run up to a Balrog and strike it. Whereas in any other hero that has strike, will just be like, oh, I'm not risking a strike against this movement 6 elf. I'll just stray the hell away from him.
Well, not really, because like Elisar, right? Men of the West, how popular is that? Like all of a sudden,
that's fair.
Gil-galad's fucking
useless. You can also run away from Gil-galad, feed him a couple troops a turn, and then Aragorn just rinses the rest of the army.
He can do, but Aragorn can also just charge in, be on a horse, and call for Frodo, and then go up to quite 10 quite easily.
That's just Aragorn.
Yeah. Losing strike.
That's just Aragorn.
I think the big thing
there's other things like stuff like Glorfindel, Arnor, and Fornos. They both give him headaches as well.
That's like Durin even.
Popular army.
But I think the big thing for Newcastle in that mission is you outnumbered Dougie by 23 models.
Yeah, it just
like that's huge. 23 models when you're trying to defend the pathways to like no let your opponent get around you with their wounded, but you're also trying to push forward a bit with yours. It's difficult. Like,
how many models did he have?
35 to 58.
Yeah, and he needs things to go his way. He needs things like, I don't know, casting call wins on the Witch King to go off in like a 6 and things. It just, the things that he kind of needs, it just didn't have.
That's like the scariest thing in his army for a year. It is a big deal, or it would be a big deal in other slightly different matchups that involve Círdan, but it's just not enough to.
He had an opportunity to chuck Glorfindel, remember that now's coming back to me, to put Glorfindel into the Witch King, because I left it open. I was a bit worried, and he decided not to. Me and Dougie play fairly often at events, and it always comes down to some mental, like one of us goes for this mental play, and it's so he shut out of it because it usually comes out in the bad end of it. But I reckon, and he probably does as well, he probably should have went for it because the matchup sucked for him. That to get like, even if it was like a 40% chance to kill the Witch King, he probably should have taken it. It's probably bad on my end as well, but he's just playing uphill because I have so much more models. I've got the drum, I can fly around with the wounded markers. Círdan doesn't do much, and Gil-galad didn't do anything, unfortunately. So
the Witch King could easily die in one turn, whereas Glorfindel would not.
Yeah, but even that matchup, even if that happens, depending at what stage in the game that this happened, I assume it was reasonably late, I would guess, for you to be in that situation. There's a fair chance he kills the Witch King and still loses anyway.
Yeah, it was not too bad, like, because he chose to shoot quite often because he had the elves, and that's the other thing is he chose to shoot and I get the board. I'm just drumming across the board, so he should have taken that. But at the time, I've got the Morgul blade. He's probably just not wanting to run in and completely risk it, but he probably should have. But that's just hindsight because the game didn't go for him. He couldn't cast Call Winds on the Witch King ever. He just rolled like crap all the time with it, and it was just everything that he needed to happen didn't go his way. But it's obviously Lyndon as well. He's not really massively tryharding. He wanted to use Círdan, he told me. So I was like,
he likes to use stuff like
the elves.
Well, yeah. I mean, he tried out a list with Lindir and no Elrond just because he wanted to try it.
Yeah,
that's about it. Now, like
2 wins. 2 wins for your first 2 games. So it was a strong result. And then game 3, you go in. Was that game 3 you played Denby? Stephen Denby, game 3.
Was that Lords of Battle?
That was Lords of Battle. Yeah.
Yeah, that was game 3.
Aye, so Lords of Battle, I went back onto, I didn't really speak about it, but the kind of table that has the kind of big river going across it. And I don't, it's not that I don't like it, you always just feel like, oh, I'm going to get done by this here a bit, but I won the roll-off for deployment on it, and because I had a bit of shooting, I was able to put Dembe, because we played Lords of Battle, he was using... It was Muster, wasn't it? It was Saruman, bunch of Berserkers. Is it? What's the one that gets
that would be Muster, yeah. Free March. Then you get Saruman and the
strike on all the captains.
Strike on the captains, aye. That is the one.
Muster them. And I kind of was able to kind of castle a little bit, but this is really where the shooting didn't do a whole lot. 3-4 guys in the way in, but the main thing was really when that was just the glaives. It just, in fact, I haven't spoken much about it, but I did take 4 Mirkwood Cav in the list as well, and they were just really good, especially in Lords of Battle. Just by the time he got to me, and then the charges kind of happened, just keeping 4 Cav back, and Lords of Battle, it comes down to 2 or 3 extra kills. Just so good, just like getting that counter charge into things that were like, whether it was Berserkers, and just the Berserkers are a bit scary because they fight 5, but it was really good. The glaives just completely shone in that event. So that game, there's not much of a story to tell really. Great player Dembe. I felt a bit hard done by because at this point I felt like I was running the gauntlet. Kind of, you wanted like some easier games, so to speak, but Dembe's second in the GBHL. And I had Dobie noising me up. So yeah. The series is not much to tell in that game. It's just a bunch of Urukai running into a bunch of elves, and Thranduil done next to nothing because he played super well with Grima. It was good to see a good player really not just use Grima just for the might, but the might debuff thing, but also as like a really good zoning and really prevented Thranduil from really going anywhere I wanted him to go. Pain in the arse. But there was like one key turn where I spent 2 might to do an heroic combat, and it was only maybe I possibly only actually killed 2 guys, like the initial one, then another guy, which you wouldn't think is great for 2 might at all, but it just brung Thranduil round with the banner, the +1 to wound, just too much for the Rika, even with the kind of numbers and stuff. It was just awesome. The glaives were so good in that scenario because with the Berserkers, like, he only has 1 banner, if I remember correctly, so like he isn't always having a banner, but when you have, because the glaives are elven blade still, so if you have like the glaives going into Berserkers, you're mostly favoured, even if they have 2 pikes behind a Berserker. I don't know the exact maths, but there'll be very few armies that will be sort of favoured to come out on top of that with 1 model. A glaive taking 2 dice to win a banner. That's like so good. Like,
Elven made weapons make such a big difference in that match.
Yep, and they're only D5 on the Berserkers now, so they've been for a while, but so you're killing them on 5s, and if you're lucky enough to have +1 to wound, it's pretty good. Like, it's not. So that was a tight game. He was a great player, but it just came out on top, really. If I remember correctly, didn't. It was a minor, I think, but it was.
I think it was, yes. I mean, at the end of day 1, you were sitting in 4th place with 2 major wins, 1 minor. There was only 3 people. There was 3 people above you who were on 3 major wins at the time. One of which was Dobie, who was probably noising you up a bit, I'm sure. But there was 4 people. So there was 7 people who'd won. Actually, there's 9 people who'd won all 3 games, but. Some of them had like different amounts of minors and major wins. But you were sitting in 4th place after day 1, which was pretty strong showing for the first day. And then we went off to get some curry and a few drinks on Saturday night. I think all 3 yous went to the meal and went for a few drinks after and spins and stuff, which was good.
Yeah, it was class. Yeah. We were all moaning as moany men do at our table about, that's not going to be enough curry for us, and then just more and more and more food kept coming out. It went from us going, this is shite, like what's happened here, to like, oh my god, this is so much food.
It was the best of that meal that we had then was the best I've had at Scouring, to be honest. That kind of setup that it was, rather than doing the buffet thing when they just brought out like kind of waves of curries after one another. I thought it was all organised really well. It was really good.
Yeah, well done. Yeah,
I liked it. There was a new, obviously the place, it's the same venue that we've used in the past, but it's under new ownership, so it's like a completely new management team, new chefs and stuff like that. So I was always, you're always that wee bit trepidation going into it, being like, I've booked a meal for 40 folk. This better be good, because otherwise I'm going to have 40 folk that are not very happy with their dinner. And everybody seemed to enjoy it. I liked my own, like the food I got, I've really enjoyed, but I think the setup, like the efficiency, how quickly they were, you say, bringing these waves of curries out to us and nice big portion of starters, like nice mix and stuff. It was good. So I think we would definitely look to go back there. And
what a good measurement would be Lidl. Lidl, did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I got the one curry I would eat, so hi.
You basically like Lidl, you choose what you want and take it, and then he doesn't need a second invitation.
I was pretty much worried that we're just going to get slap something down in front of us, and I'm like, right, I hope we get a korma here, because it's the only thing I'm going to eat. And I'm just worried. And then the first thing that came out was a korma, and I was just like grabbing that dish. So that's mine.
Yeah. As you can imagine, Lidl was checking everyone else is okay first. He was like, "Are you all right?" No, Lidl korma straight on his dish. He wasn't bothered about it. And it turned out quite well, because none of us liked kormas really.
I mean, out of the 12 years that you've done Scouring, I think you've really only had one bad year for the food.
That's already decent returns, especially for you, to be fair. Like, I'll take that. That's a decent batting average.
That's a good return by Lidl. That was
just so much as my personal opinion, as such as other people's feedback.
Probably, you're probably right on
that.
But I think
but even then, I think I was one of the people that actually got fed that week that year. So it didn't affect me at all. So it's 12 out of 12 for me.
Good, strong. I think I'm going to try and get a bit of commission off them, actually, because off the back of us using them and having such a good time, the Old World guys used it a couple of weeks after us, and then I got a message for a guy that organises 40k tournaments randomly out the blue, messaged me saying, "Oh, I saw that you were running a Middle-earth tournament. Where's that place you went for curry? It looked class." I was like, "Oh, there you go." So I've been getting them business. Like, I'll see if they can give me a wee cheeky deal next year.
There you go. Yeah, great night. I guess there's a bit more. We've got some photos and things I'll chuck up at the end here.
For me, obviously, as a TO is a bit different because I'm not playing, but like, I always love going to a tournament and then having like the social on a Saturday night, like just going to the pub, getting a chat with folk, getting a few drinks, just catching up with people, and especially Scouring's a bit different because you get some of the guys travelling up that you only see once or twice a year, so it's nice to catch up with them, but also just seeing how many of the Scots went out as well. As I said, there was about 40 or so out for the curry, and then still at least 20 odd in spoons for the first couple of hours. So it was good. I enjoyed it a lot, and everybody seemed to be having a nice time, which is what you want to see as a TO.
Class. I genuinely didn't hear any complaints. If any complaints, it was of us arguing about GBHL 100s and 90s for Lidl, if you remember correctly, if you're listening. Lidl's in a world of his own.
What was that? I only heard the 90s part.
I said the only complaints I can remember of the whole night was us moaning, arguing about the value of a GBHL 90 and a GBHL 100.
When you were like fucking Captain Caveman and just like absolute dense.
I was not dense. I was on top of my game.
During the games you were top of your game, like, but at the meal, I'm pretty sure Mr. Ian McGregor and Andy Stone will back me up in saying how much of a special person you really were.
Well, I guess I'm going to segue there. Speaking of special people and Andy Stone, Lidl, you and Andy were having a wee joint birthday celebration on the Saturday as well.
All right, I was wondering where you're going with special. I was like, Jesus Christ,
special in a good way.
You can't go there on a YouTube video podcast.
The two birthday boys. I think we've got a wee photo of that as well. If you can stick it up, Casper.
Have you got the cake?
I've got a photo in there of the cake. It's at the bottom of the dock, but you can fire it up when you get a chance.
All right, okay. Yeah. Oh, there is there. This is not good podcasting, but there you go. Okay, chucked up. I had a lot of that cake, by the way, and one person that had a lot even more than me was Caleb. He was just actually the cake like he's going to go back to America and he never gets fed or something like that.
It was Henry. Henry got your face, Lidl, and I think Adam Fitzpatrick got Andy's face.
Dobby got my crotch. Like, he's obviously been desperate for that.
They're really nice cake, but like, I'm not a big cake fan either.
That was good, though. Just no candles to blow it, eh? I mean,
Aye,
man,
well, I mean,
shite.
you're getting up there, eh? I couldn't get that
not
many
like
candles.
little,
like, I don't know if the
like little to
Scouring budget
find-
allows that many candles.
Aye, health
I'm
and safety and
pretty
common
sure
grounds wouldn't let me have that many candles for it.
I'm pretty sure I put a 3 and a 6 in your wee cake at the last Alliance, Dave. That was also at the same venue.
I wasn't lit up.
Getting old, like.
We are, aye. But yeah, the day 2, game 4, you're up on table 2, I believe. No, you were on table 3 actually, and again, that's just because of the differences between good and evil. So you were 4th going into day 2, but you're on table 3, and as you said, like you played against Stuart Collette, who ultimately in the end finished 3rd. How did that go?
So obviously that was, we knew at that point I was going to be using evil, we'd be using good, just because it was game 4. So was it a roll off?
No, you were using your evil because you just used your good against Denby.
Right.
So
that's correct. Yeah,
you were going to be using your evil into Stuart's good. So he had Reclamation of Skellieth, and it was Fog of War was game 4.
Yes.
So he avoided his second Balrog.
Yes. Aye, which is quite crucial, I think, to be honest.
That game, right, so this game, spoilers, ended in a draw. But I simply could not win a roll-off. And I'm not talking like move-offs, I'm just meaning like win a fight. I just literally... Obviously, I'm not favoured in the fights at all. He had Boromir's banner, which sucked against me. For me. For him, it was really good, because even when I got the Morannons in to get to the fight 4... he would obviously get up to fight 4.5 with the banner, and that was really good against me. I just could not win fights. Weirdly as well, like the way the game started, he had quite a lot of shooting, because the Reclamation has all the Rangers. He had Faramir, obviously he's got a bow, and Madril has a bow as well, I think, does he?
Yeah.
So it was Madril, Faramir, Boromir, and would that have been it? I think it might have been, actually.
I wrote a list for Reclamation at 800 that was just those 3. I can't imagine he'd have gone for the captain as well.
No, because I chose Madril. I chose Madril as my target, so I didn't, and I remember thinking it had to be him pretty
just
much.
Just had the 3 characters, 45 models in the list. So you can flesh out those warbands, whereas I think a lot of people were running this around the 700 point mark for WTC, and at that point you kind of only have like 2 full warbands, and you almost sort of get Madril in there as a bit of a drop. But at 800 you can flesh that warband out and get 3 full ones, which is nice.
Madril does have a bow, is that right?
Yeah, he does, aye.
Yeah, so there's a scary amount of might behind the bows as well, with Faramir shooting you as well, and it was quite strange because his target selection was wild. Like, he probably admit that, and he might claim that was like big brains. I wasn't knowing who to defend, but it was like one turn. I'm not joking. Well, her turn they moved up, and there was like everything into the Witch King, and I was like, all right, okay, like it's not going to do much. I don't think really. It has to have 3 fate, 3 might. But I ended up like stripping off 2 wounds on the Fell Beast, and I was like, this is weird now, because the game's barely started, but my Fell Beast has 1 wound, and he has enough might. I think one of the guys maybe even has Sharpshooter. Does Faramir have Sharpshooter?
Yeah, he's got Sharpshooter, so he can choose to just shoot the Fell Beast.
He's got 6 extra might next to Boromir.
Yeah, and he was like choosing to put the shots into the Fell Beast, and I was like, this is like mental, but I quite like it. It's clever what he's doing. I guess it's clever. It was something different, because most people just kind of like don't use their own initiative, and they just think I have to put everything into wound the Witch King. And sometimes you can spend like 3 might to try and get a wound in the Witch King, and you just pass your fate, and it's like, well, that was terrible.
But I mean, he's only got the auto choice from Faramir. Everyone else has to roll a dice, and a 1, 2, 3, 4 they hit the Fell Beast anyway. So it's not really like he's choosing to hit the Fell Beast. The dice are making him hit the Fell Beast.
No, but like, when he had the option
to win.
He had the option to Sharpshooter into the Fell Beast, though. He specifically went for the Fell Beast, and I think he did spend might to wound it as well. So I was at the point where it was
shooting everything else. Yeah, it's a very good list in Fog of War, because you just automatically pick Faramir as your protect, and then you've got 3 might from Boromir to use.
He's also magic resistant, I think, as well, is he not, Faraday?
Yeah.
Aye.
So Madrill was my target, and to be honest, he should have probably. I think he just couldn't got a bit overconfident because anyway the game went like that. So I made a decision. I think one of my strongest decisions of the event was rather than I pulled the Witch King right back. So probably for like 2, maybe 3 turns, the Witch King didn't cast a spell, didn't do anything because I was just scared of him getting shot, but patient enough. And I think the patience is like quite a bit of skill does come into it because I allowed the game to play out. And I was just getting battered, absolutely battered all across the board. Like his shooting was mental. He was like putting like everything in one turn into one of the captains. I was like, right, captain's his target. And then the next turn, everything into Cardouche. And I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? It was just mental. And it turns out it was the fucking drummer. It was like the target was the drummer. And actually, it was absolutely mental because he completely humped me. But it was like, I was like, oh, he's got his target. He's definitely, because Cardouche was dead at this point, and I hadn't done anything to Madrill. I hadn't broken him. The best I could do was get the objective, but like because the drummer was his target, and it only failed a courage test on the last turn. I nearly actually won this game because what happened was he was too slow to move onto his objective. And on the last turn, it was the fucking hero play of the century. It was like the Witch King eventually came back up, and Cardouche, before he died, had wounded Madrill with a flame burst, and he failed his fate, I think. And then so in the last turn, the Witch King came up, black darted Madrill and killed him.
Nice.
Managed to like charge a guy and then like slingshotted off him with a heroic combat onto my terrain piece. So literally on the last turn, I killed my target and I got the terrain piece, and I was like, shit, the game just needs to end, and it ended like right there and then, and like Boromir's like an inch away from capturing his terrain piece. And obviously he had killed his target, which was the drummer. Which when I rolled his courage test on the drummer, I wasn't even bothered because like he's got his target, he's been shooting Cardouche all game. What's going on here? He's like, no, the drummer's a target. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
at least he only gets 3 points for it.
Yeah, well, because it was it wasn't in combat, so that was the thing. It was the same with the magic, so it turned out a draw because I had my objective. He didn't have. I can't remember the exact points. He didn't have his, but he broke me. He kept his guy alive when my keep alive maybe died or something. It worked out a draw in the last turn of the game, and honestly, I was getting humped. And I think this was of the whole event, that game ending on a 1 and a 2 was like you need these things through the course of an event to kind of go your way, especially in that big an event. And that was that game. I couldn't believe I stole a draw. And any advice, if anyone cares to listen to somebody who's played the game or games for long enough, is the best thing about the game we play is you need to stay in the game. It's so easy. I got salty. Probably the first time I got salty, I could not win a fight. I couldn't win a fight. And obviously when I had enough wins, I had 3 wins at this point, it's easier to be like, stay in, because it is easy just to kind of, but I was just like, stay in the game. I know I'm humped here, completely humped.
You didn't want the attitude of just like packing in and going home early. Like,
no, I was that wasn't what I was implying, but like, I understand if you've like, and you're not playing for much, but obviously I was playing for podium potentially still. But just keep sticking into the game, because there's a few times now in events I've maybe even won.
Keep playing. Aye.
You should, like, I can.
No, I think you're right, and I think a draw can be huge actually in terms of. Obviously, sometimes if you draw a game, that might rule you out of winning it. Although, as we mentioned, like you did have a chance going into the final game to win still. But what a draw will definitely do for you is give you a really good shout at podium. Like I've done it myself. Like I've had a few podiums where you go 5 in a draw and you're like, right, well, I'm playing table 2 in the last game, so I'm no right on the top table. But if that top table game goes in a particular way that I need it to, and I get a big win, then I could still win. But at the very least, like, it's gave me a decent chance to podium and sticking in that game. Because obviously, if you lose, then you're probably kind of done for. Like you're maybe capping out at 4th or 5th, something like that, if you get a loss. So
yeah. My head would have gone as well a bit because I felt like nothing went right for me in that game, and
should we boost like. I think there is something to be said for Stuart's mind. It's like Fog of War mind games. I actually quite like shooting at things that are not my target, particularly maybe less so against your army. But I think if I'm playing against an army that's got some combat threats in it, and maybe I've picked a different model, but if I shoot at the one I'm not aiming at, and I can chip a wound onto it, then it means that they then think that's your target. They're naturally a bit more cautious with it. And they can also be a bit more aggressive with the one that is your target because they think, oh, well, they've picked the other one. So, like, I think there's something to be said for the mind games with shooting. I didn't date every single game I play, but I do like to date it sometimes. Yeah, that as well. Like, you could think it's the one that they're protecting. So,
I tried that because I was up against the Shire. So I had like 14 hobbits to choose from.
Really? I mean...
I got an early wound on Farmer Maggot, which was my target, just because he was sort of at the front. And every Hobbit hero was just coming forward anyway. And I was like, all right. But I protected Farmer Maggot after that. And I was like, I'm not going to shoot at him now. I'm going to change my target and make him think I'm going elsewhere. And hopefully I'll get that kill in combat. And thankfully, I think it was like the last turn. I had I'm surrounded by 2 Urukai. One Urukai got pulled off, so it was just the 2. And I thankfully won the fight and got that 1-4 up, and then I was just double checking. I did wound him earlier, right? And he was like, aye. I was like, thank God for that.
That was a cool army, that Hobbit army. Like, it was always drifting about very near the Shire tables that we had as well. I was kind of sad that it never quite managed to make onto it, because it's always nice when you get a wee thematic photo with certain armies in their kind of natural habitat, so to speak. But aye, it was cool to see.
Oh, it was embarrassing to lose a combat with a Berserker against Sam 5 turns in a row, or it was 4 and he died the 5th turn.
Did you buy any new Scouring dice this year?
Me?
Yes.
I got 2, aye. That's why I usually get 2.
You should, I was going to say, if you didn't, that's because you had no karma. I actually think everyone moans about the Scouring dice being OP, and I think these latest ones were like pish. They were like rolling 1s and 2s. There's something wrong with this latest edition.
I didn't hear so much people saying that about these ones this year, but there's still plenty left, so maybe the lucky ones are the the bag if anybody does want to buy some early.
Well, do you know what's hilarious about that? They were rolling shit for me, and I pretty much only use Scouring dice, loads of gold, silver,
that's because of the cost.
Yellow and red. But the hilarious thing that I'll finish this game with Stuart is I actually got the whole Scouring catalogue out, apart from the raffle ones, which pisses me off. I'll never get them.
Oh, you just need to enter the raffle, maybe?
I did. Anyway, and I was like, pick your fate, a Scouring fate, and he went for the brown. I was like, yes, these dice rolls shite, mate. Straight into a 2, game over, easy draw. But you know the best dice? There it is there, boys. The GBHL 101. Not many of them going about, Dave boy.
No. There's not a lot of those cutting about, like.
Game 5 anyway.
Do you know have to win to get one of them? Do you just get them for podium in now?
That's a Scouring dice. A red Scouring dice rather than a red.
Scouring.
It's a red Scouring dice, yeah.
Right, right, yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought you were saying it was like the GBHL winner dice for 100, which are also red.
Aye. Yeah,
I've not got them on the camera here, so I just was like, what the hell is he talking about?
Oh, right.
We done that first. We got the red Scouring dice that you can only get if you win a prize, so best painted also gets one, second and third as well do get one, so they're still pretty rare though, because especially for Scottish players.
Yeah, no, that's still a big deal to be fair. No, I was just baffled by that.
I know for a fact, sometimes you're playing against somebody and they've like nicked your dice just by mistake. If there's a red Scouring going about, it's pretty. It's actually in my trophy cabinet.
You accused me last year of that.
Anyway, game 5. I'm trying to speed
this
up
game
a bit
5. You are on table 2. Game 5. I think we've got a photo of that as well against Sean Sproul. Yeah, and Sean done really well to be up on game 5 on table 2. I thought with the armies he brought, because he brought the 3 trolls and the fellowship.
Yep, and kudos to Sean because he'd made like kind of cheat cards for the build Bert and Tom. Is that right?
That's their names.
Yeah. And the upgrades that he'd got, because obviously, like, even if you know the rules of the Trolls, they don't know what upgrades they've taken. So, like, he'd really set it out really nice, where he explained it all brilliantly. Could not have asked for a better opponent to have used an army that's kind of not gotcha, but it's very like, shit, like, what have you got here, sort of thing. And it was a great game. That one was, we were playing dig up stuff. It's Treasure Hoard. Yeah, we played Treasure Hoard.
Treasure Hoard, yeah, for game 5.
Which for him could have been an issue because the intelligence is really quite low in the three of them. One of them's slightly higher. I think they're mostly 6. One of them is maybe 7. I think that was the intelligence. It was fairly low anyway.
Yeah, it's low for heroes anyway. It's pretty low in comparison to most heroes.
But all it takes of those Trolls is like sort of like to move on. A couple of fails and just slows them all coming in. But he did actually get them all quite relatively fast on them.
2 of them are 7 and one of them is 8, which is hard.
Right, yeah. So, which is, to be honest, I know that's not too bad, but it's like it's pretty crap for, like, if things can go wrong quite easily for you. And importantly, so the Sentinels were this game. I was just like, holy shit! Like, 2 Sentinels here is just going to be like almost like having 2 transfixes or 2 commands of like a Galadriel every turn. It was so useful. But having said that, he pretty much passed all of them, which is a bit annoying for me. This game come down to kind of get through its some pace was almost on like the last turn. Again, staying in the game, I'd lost my key pieces. Like, really, I think Thranduil was actually dead, or maybe survived. He was out. He couldn't do much because with the sneeze, and then like the big guys, they just bar him. It's really hard to even do anything about it. Legolas couldn't do a whole lot either, but he made a choice to not transfer the treasure onto what the main one is. The boss is Bert, is that right? I think Bert's
Bill's
the gaffer.
The boss. He's the general. Yeah.
So he had an opportunity to put all 3 of his treasures onto Bill, but he chose not to. It might even have been 4. He might have got one of mine at one point, but he chose not to. And at the time, it's one of those ones you didn't even think about it. I was like, all right, fair enough. No, you're not going to. But that turned out to be what done him, because on something like the second last turn, I finally, he kept rolling 6s for the Trolls, and I have no real solution to that, and just hoping he doesn't. But he basically just humped his fights in the last couple of turns. I killed 2 of them as he just had the boss left. And I think he also failed a Sentinel check on the last turn because he was trying to get in within 12 inch. I think it's within 12 of the opponent's board edge. You get points in that one.
Yeah,
it might be wholly with it, but yeah.
Yeah. But he had the thing as well, I think, that if they always hold. I can't remember, did they have that? There's no.
Actually didn't. I kind of mentioned that on the last episode, that like because the missions we picked, we hadn't really gone for correct. Too many ones where you have to control like a particular area of the board. So he didn't take the dominant presence, which is usually one of the top choices for the Trolls, and it worked out in his favour because the only mission, I know it's a little relevant in Fog of War, but like only minorly, the only mission it was really going to be relevant in was Stake a Claim, and he didn't use his Trolls in that mission, so it was a good call.
What was really interesting, I hadn't saw because I've played against them before, but not with that many upgrades, and they had that, the one, their food line around, what'd you call it?
Where they can get wounds back.
Aye, it was shit hot. It was really good.
Yeah, it's very handy.
Basically, if they come, I think it's maybe 3 inches. If they come, they have like basically markers. So he has to think where he wants them during the game. So you have to be quite tactical of where you want it. Livestock, I think they're called. And as long as at any point in their activation they come within 3 inches of the livestock, they just gain a wound back. What I wasn't too sure was if you could have more than one a turn or more than one in activation. But there was a crucial point, and he said this himself. He maybe could have, one of the guys could have survived if he'd ate more of his livestock. But anyway, to the listeners, not to kind of bore it because there's not huge details. This game was just another example of glaives being really good. if you're trapped. Oh no, actually, that was the other thing. You had the can't be trapped upgrade on the trolls, so that kind of sucked for me. I was never able to kill them really.
You just shoot them, mate.
No,
because they can make it dark at night as well, so they can't even be shot.
I don't want to wound. Great.
No, because they make it dark at night, and then they gain Cave Dweller as well.
Yeah,
that's what he had. So that game was just really fun. Sean's a great opponent. At the end of the game, I had to message him. I was like, I feel bad because that was just another game. It came into the last turn, and you know what it's like playing against monsters when they're just rolling sixes all game, and it's just you have no solution or alternative other than just to keep going for it. And eventually, like in the last 2 turns, I think I killed 2 of them, and I was like probably quite cheesing, to be honest. So I was like, sorry, Sean, I hope I wasn't too celebrated like that. Not at all. Great game, great player.
It was great to have
really
Sean
nice
and Sean back over. I mean, he's obviously moved over to Northern Ireland now, so we don't see him so often.
By the way, another dad,
really, is
who was on. Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I had a kid recently. We spoke a bit about that, as boring dads do. You know,
it's nice because when you get Sean back, it means you usually get the rest of the. I usually get Jeremy and Siraj and that as well. So it's good to catch up with them on and have them there. And Sean was doing well, and I think in your game as well. For I was talking to a couple of people that had kind of had their eyes on it. Like one of which was Dave Farmer actually, because his game he was playing Dobie on table 1 at the time, and their game had finished quite early, as we spoke about, with the fact that it was the spiders that Dobie had to use in that mission. And David said, it looks like Sean's going to win that. Like he kind of had a wee eye in it. It looks like Sean's in a pretty strong position, but obviously, as you said, like the trolls, that can be the downside of the monster armies, I suppose. If they run out of steam a wee bit towards the end, and if you kill ones that have got objectives, you can manage to pull it out of the bag. So, another good win for you, and obviously put you in the mix going into the final round.
I remember. I'm pretty sure it was a major as well. It was so tight, but then it just swung. Like that happens in monsters, like the Balrog game 1. You just keep sticking in, and I killed. Like I had like pretty much all the objectives. Had guys in his deployment zone. It was both yeah.
The thing is, as we touched on going into the last game, we knew that you and Farmer couldn't play because of the way Good versus Evil had worked. You'd both used your you'd both used your good in game 5, so you were both going to be using evil game 6, which meant that you couldn't be playing each other. It looked like I was convinced, and it looked like you were going to play Dobie regardless, really, how the games went. It just seemed like you and Dobie were going to play in the last game. But as it was, I don't know if I would have, like, it'd been funny, I think, and I'm like, the pair of them are just going to sit and argue, like,
I did say that because if we play, you're going to have to stand at our table 100%.
It's going to put so much pressure on you as well, because I feel like Dobie's going to be so good again in your head, and you'd never live it down either if he beat you, like, whereas if you beat him, I reckon he just brushes it off, like, but as it was,
literally, there's like nothing to lose for him. I think I would have been okay.
Table 3, so you actually never had to play Dobie in the end. You ended up playing Connor Kerr instead.
Yep. So game 6 quickly was game 6, and at this point I was riding a bit of a high, to be honest, and I knew that Connor, a bit like me, has been stuck with the Arnor All Edition really as much as I've been stuck with Halls. Just keep sticking out, and I think Arnor are a little bit unrealised still in this edition. They only got better with Palantir, with foresight points, with the kind of, the 4-up saves and your gaffers and stuff.
Yeah, the addition of just a couple of wee cavalry as well and stuff like that. Gives them so many tools.
He hates Argadir. Like Connor, I think he sold Argadir after our games. He told me he hates him that much, he just sold him. So it's like, all right.
He does despise him. I've had this exact conversation with Connor quite a lot because I've played Arnor quite a bit as well. And I think he's basically essential on the list because he's the only model that can actually kill anything. But his Argadir, specifically his one,
he's not got one. What do you mean?
He loves a 3 high. Oh well, he'll know anymore. But the one that he had, it's like it just loves a 3 high, and he cannot roll for shit with it at all. So I'm not surprised it's got ejected.
It's actually his mouth.
That's his comment about every big hero, though, really. That you just roll crap and you get surrounded and die. Pash.
I think that's part of why he gravitates towards Honor a bit.
This game, I mean, the thing is, so this one was, we were playing Stake a Claim, wasn't it? Yeah, Stake a Claim,
which I think Honor are pretty good in, to be honest, just because the fact that they're tough to ship. And he's got quite a bit of expendable might to march up as well if he needs to.
This game was wild because it was tight. Like, this is probably the tightest game. And, like, he didn't have things go for him. Like, for example, his Malbeth, genuinely, this is including heroes. I don't know, it maybe saved one wound throughout the course of the game. It was wildly bad.
That sounds a bit Malbeth,
but having said that, one of the wings was basically, we just signed it off. It was the Witch Kings. He's going to kill. It was like, I don't know, 2 Rangers, maybe a random knight, and like a Warrior of Arnor. It was just like random Arnor guys. And it was like, right, I'll just spend a couple of night over there if I have to combat and kill them, and I'll back over, help the lads out. But literally, like, the first turn, right, this is no joke, he got 1 knight onto it, and I got the Witch King onto it. And I was like, you know what, to get the extra fortification point here, I'm going to like compel the knight to charge me. So I did. But then this was then the knight then wins the combat, charging my Witch King. And because they have Hatred Angmar, and it was a lance charging me, it was +2 to wound me. And then he put a wound into the Witch King, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, what is going on here? And I think I've rolled a 3 on my fate, the first fate, and I was just like, I'm just spending the might. I'm not even going to, like, let's just forget that ever happened. But for the rest of the game, like, this Witch King on a Fell Beast was fighting about like 5 fucking Arnor, and I'm shitting myself. It's like, normally you would just charge 3 Rangers and go whatever, but I was like, if I lose this fight here, which could quite possibly happen, like, I could just die. Like, it's absolutely mental. +2 to, well, +1 to wound, but like, I'm trapped.
Yeah, that's 5x3s. It's
I'm like,
scary,
fuck.
like.
Aye. So
it's scary times.
So nothing right for me in that.
I hate the kind of rolls, like, you get stuck with them, and then it's worse when you roll a 2, because you're like, you get a 1, you're definitely no mighting it. You're going to roll the next fate. You get a 3, you're definitely mighting it to save the next fate. You get a 2, and you're stuck with, shit, do I use my 2 points of might? Do I roll the next one? What if I get a 1 on the next one, or I get another 2, and I'm still using might anyway? Like, I hate that, but I mean, at least you get in the 3, you're just immediate, might.
But even then, I'm kind of like still angry because obviously I wanted
the point of might,
and also I didn't have the
you didn't have to be charged either. Like, it was your choice to be charged, and then the fortifications no went your way either.
Yeah. If it's about the fortification points, you could just compel them away.
Definitely a bad start.
Well, I know, but come on, I'm gonna kill. It was just mental, right?
You should do.
But that kind of theme with the Witch King continued, like, literally. I even then sent over like a taskmaster and a captain, and I'm not joking, by the way. It was like 5 or 6 Arnor maybe. It just sucked. So they weren't even in Malbeth. It was just, there's no frills to these guys other than they were just kicking the shit out of me. And
that's big in that matchup as well, because like, it's quite, in theory, I think on paper that's quite a poor matchup for Connor, because you're wounding him on 4s.
Yep.
With your Blades of the Dead, and you've got a piece in the Witch King that can shut Malbeth down.
Yeah, but that never happened like that. It's because the Witch King never got over.
Yeah.
But
does that not mean that the Warriors Arnor are also killing you in 4s?
No, because Minas Morgul's not Arn or Angmar. It's just the Witch King.
No.
Yeah, it's just the Witch
King still got that.
He still has the Angmar keyboard.
Yeah. They remember these from Angmar, but they don't remember the rest where they came from or whatever.
Interestingly, both of you guys had exactly 58 models in the lists.
Yeah, so it was like, seriously, I think it was like, I've got a bit more frills than him with the Witch King, but this is the game, I can't remember if we spoke about this before we started recording or not, but this was the game where he had 2 banners, which is great for him, and I managed to Spectre both of the banners, and Cardush killed 2 banners during the course of the game. It was like quite good play, I guess, off myself. And the thing with him, he just didn't pass his Malbeth save, because that's the weird swing thing about it as well, because like, I spent a decent amount of resources to get that play, even at a position where you wound them. But if he just passes the Malbeth save, it's like, fuck. Like, I might have spent like 2 will to cast in, and I might even spent a point of might if I had it to wound him. So everything went my way in that sense. But I was getting humped. I was ahead on fortification points. Now, by this point, he was just killing more of my guys, and it just wasn't going that way for me. But it was super tight. But on like the last turn, potentially second last turn, the Witch King YOLO'd it into Arvidui. I think it was like possibly a maybe barged into him, or just charged him, whatever way it was, a combat. It was quite wild because Arvidui was controlling the middle, and as I say, the Witch King was off at the side, but I just had to YOLO it a bit, and I managed to get into Arvidui. He heroic defensed, but I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I realised, and he was in Malbeth range, and I just whipped out the old Morgul blade and fucking one-shot him on like the last turn of the game, and it was like seriously fucking epic because, again, it taking me, like, there's a bit of a theme here. Minnie Woosty always likes to go, you're so lucky, but I mean, you've got to put yourself in these positions. Dave Farmer will have been lucky throughout the course of the event, 100%. You just need to kind of go for it, and I fucking went for it, and it paid off.
I mean, it's the thing we've spoken about it before, but like, nobody has ever won a GBHL event or podium on 100 or had some achievement at a GBHL event without a bit of luck. It's just not a thing.
You just need to put yourself in a position where you can capitalise on the luck. There's nothing worse, I think, than being lucky and getting like some lucky moments in games, but then still losing them. That's always an annoying one because you're like, oh, well, I got lucky there and still lost. Like, but if you put yourself in a position that you can capitalise on that good luck, then you're.
Because it came down to like tight as fuck that game as well. But like when Arvidui dies in the Arnor army, they lose their fearless, which obviously is a big issue for them. Completely trying to charge the Witch King. I think there's maybe even only one other turn, to be honest, but because I'd gotten ahead on fortification points a decent amount at the start, it just, that play was just happened to be the game, to be honest. And like, I think like I've been like quite critical this year, but like there's a couple of plays like just paid off for me this edition and this event, and that's why I ended up finishing second. So fucking class. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely fucking love that. And I thought I came third, but I forgot that I actually got an extra major win against Sean. So
do you think Stuart had maybe jumped ahead of you?
Yep, I was almost certain he had jumped ahead of me.
And he was playing Dobie game 6 against the Men of West with the Eagles.
I completely humped him. That was like a complete 20-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I forgot I got the major against Sean because the games never felt like major. It was like the last turn, like, oh my god, I've lost. Oh no, wait, I've major one. Like, because the way with a monster army, they drop their objectives, you get them, they're broken, everything happens in one turn.
Yeah, because actually Stuart had better victory point difference than you, so you did need the extra 5 points. Like, if you had both been tied on the same record, he would have been ahead of you because he had a better VP diff. But now, you in the end, you were 5 points behind him. Farmer was on 180, so he only dropped 5 points total, which was the minor win he got when he tabled Jamie Baxter in Lords. And then you were obviously second at 160.
Me.
Yeah, Stuart had that draw over you.
Did Stuart vote for Best Painted?
Yes, he did. Everybody did. Well, actually, a lot of people didn't, but we made sure everyone did in the end. Like, we did have a lot of people who forgot to vote for Best Painted or whatever, but I kind of went around and was like, you mind if you voted for Best Painted? And they're, right, don't want to be losing it on those 5 points, but...
My only minor criticism of Scouring is having to hand in these stupid bits of paper throughout the whole event. I lose them, or like, fucking... It's hard.
The main score sheet ones, or the ones for voting?
The voting ones.
The voting ones. I was going to say the score sheet ones, it largely comes down to just the way Scouring works doesn't really work on any of these sort of, like, your Longshanks or TTA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of use our own in-house stuff. Like, I think we would consider, I mean, it runs quite smooth because Stoffs will find the spreadsheet over the years, so like, but obviously for time's sake and just for our own sanity, like, no having to input loads of scores, if we could have it working on a TTA or something like that, then we'd maybe look at that in the future. But certainly at the moment, when the format just doesn't work, it's we have to kind of go that route. So
if you're filling out the sheets is just as easy as doing it on the. It's just the I'll lose my thing all the time, the floating one. So to recap, obviously that was a second place finish. Sorry if I've bored anyone listening, but it was for me and for anyone, it was like it is quite rare to do that well, 100-point event. So it'll remain with me for a while. It was really good.
And I think it's nice as well, because I mean, since we've been doing the podcast, we've all sort of had episodes where we've had a little bit of focus in terms of either podiuming or getting some wins as well at some of the 90s and that. But it's good to hear your experience of how your games went as well. As a TO, you get to kind of pick up a little bit on how people are doing. I think that's one of the things I really enjoy about TOing is just like
I was moaning at you. I was like, Dave, what the fuck's going on? What's up with this draw?
You were raging about your draw because you seemed to have a really tough run, but in the end of the day, I guess you like that maybe makes it a wee bit sweeter in the end as well, that you did finish second off a tough run, because like usually you kind of hope to get some easier games 1 and 2, but when you played Andy and Douglas game 1 and 2, both pretty tough opponents to play that early, and then it's never going to get any easier than that because you keep winning. Like, so if you keep winning, it's only going to get tougher.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're not going to get an easy game really, but you can get easy matchups and stuff. But it was
that's all we heard day one was like, what's with my opponents? Like, I'm getting all this like good opponents, and fucking Dobby's playing all these crap opponents.
That's good. For anyone, not that anyone cares, but if anyone listening, me and Sure Dobby are very good friends, go back a long time. And he, before the event, was like, we're speaking to each other because he's talked to him about the spider list and all that. And he was like, I think you're going to go and you're going to remember that you're rusty and you're going to moan about it, that you're crap. I was like, shut up, man. It's fine. I'll be fine. And the thing is, the two of us were like undefeated till like game 4 or something. So
game 4, yeah.
He just like.
Well, game 5
like,
actually. It was game 5 he took his first loss to Farmer. In the end, Dobby did finish 13th, which like for Dobby is just like, that's kind of cool, I guess, because people maybe know about a Warhammer Fantasy lore, but Dobby is Mr. Skaven, so 13 is their number, and it's very much a big number in Dobby's life, so to finish 13th was quite funny. I guess if he didn't finish top 3, that's where he probably want to finish.
He feels similar to me because like I came second, and that's going to might be one of the best results I get, but it's like if that roll off for game 5, because he played Dave Farmer game 5, it was Treasure Hoard, and if Dobby used is good, and they spoke about it quite openly, Dave Farmer as well was like, shit, if this roll off goes bad, now obviously Dave Farmer would probably find a way to win, he's that kind of good player, but it would have been incredibly hard for Dave to win that one. And then on Stake a Claim, Dobby's got the spiders, and I think they're sneaky good on Stake a Claim. I think people saw the army and saw the webs that he was putting down and were like, how it's kind of started to understand. Like, I rate it. I do rate the army.
I mean, the boards that we have at Scouring as well are like that bit more terrain heavy, probably, than like your average Scottish 90. Like, I think I posted some of the pictures in the doc, especially some of the new terrain that we'd got for this year. But there are, like, you can definitely put up choke points where people have to go through them, and they're then at half move, which I think definitely is game 2, I think it was, which scored the Wounded. He was able to do that really effectively and just set up a position where, like, his opponent's like, I can't really put my Wounded to safety because I'm having to move through this at half movement, and then jumped on the spiders. And it
counts as difficult as well. So like the Cav, like lose their Cav bonus, like they're quartered. Another thing is like Dobby says against Dave Farmer, these games should be interesting to everyone listening, because it's like you're talking. It was nearly won an event with a Spider Queen's Brood. I mean, obviously it came 13th, but it did turn out that it was really quite that close. Like the webs slowing down Bjorn against Dave Farmer. I think Bjorn goes, he barely even hit combat because he's just moving through webs all game to get anywhere. I think he just said maybe the biggest downfall is there's no way to help your courage in that army, and the courage is trash. So
I remember him saying he tried to charge maybe Gwahir or one of the key pieces with 4 bat swarms, I think, hoping he would get one of them in. And I think he said, like from memory, I think he said he had the Spider Queen. She has to be the one that calls the move, so she has to go in first. She went into Gwahir, and then he was hoping that he could get a bat in to support her. Obviously, you prefer not have to come at this might have been first. You kind of normally you'd want the bat in, but because it was off the back of a move, she had to go in first. And then I think he said 4 bats all failed the courage test to get in, so he wasn't able to get that support piece in. It's the courage is rough.
I mean, and this is the thing, is like Dave Farmer's clearly the best player this year, but it's a bit of luck on his end as well. So it's just, I think, just this the way it goes. But that's why I was stressing all day, because I was like, he's gonna. Anyway, nobody cares about that. All fun and games. Let's move on, because
have a wee quick
go, Dave, sorry.
Chat about Stuart's list, I guess. Obviously, we kind of spoke already about his reclamation, which he used against you. And I think one of the bonuses I have in reclamation, in some ways, like, there's quite a lot. That 4.5 is really important, because like you play against the Morannons and then they go, in good versus evil, I mean, Morannon Orcs are going up to fight 4 against you, but then you've got the banner to go back up to 4.5.
I think it's underrated. I
Muster Isengard as well, even though they get the hatred men, but again, you're out fighting them with the banner. So I think it's a pretty good call from Stuart for the for good v evil. And then obviously depths, which we spoke about tons. Although Stuart does like to take the Black Shield captains as opposed to some of the regular captains. Like, he's quite a fan of like dropping a couple of goblins just to get the slightly better combat model on the captains, which is fine. I think. I mean, you have enough models, I guess. There's a lot of stuff around the Balrog.
Shaman as well.
Even for the defence now that the Goblin captains can get shields.
Especially in Fog of War. You can protect one.
Especially because you know Fog of War's there.
Aye, so I can see that as being a reasonable
shaman. What's the shaman giving you?
The shaman. It's a chance to try and fix, I suppose, isn't it?
Aye. There's also that chance that you come up against something that can actually kill the Balrog. And if it does die, then you've got the Fury as a backup, but otherwise you've got channeled transfix.
Yeah, I suppose a bit random, but I mean, it's always he's always he's also got a cave troll.
A cave troll.
You got a cave troll.
So it's a bit different in that regard. I mean, it's a little bit different.
So it's very sure.
It's 51
models, and he's also paid the 5 points for the spear.
I think that might just be a modelling thing.
Yeah, it might well be.
Possible.
I mean, can't bash it. He came third.
No, I say fair play. Sure,
you could back up. You back up one of the Goblin captains, and he's now fight 6.
Yeah, that's a superb use of 80 points.
Could use 80 points right there.
But no, it's a good result again, and it's obviously like nowadays there are a lot more Scots at Scouring. Like some of the Scourings in the past, actually, like we were outnumbered by people travelling up, but there's still like quite a bunch of good players that came up for it. Some of whom did finish in the top 10 and stuff, but we did have a couple of other good showings. Like Ian continued his good run that he's been on. Like obviously he's been on a bit of tear off late with all the podiums, and he finished 6th, which he said he was a bit disappointed with, but then on reflection, actually he only lost 1 game, and it was Lords of Battle with his suppers, so he shouldn't really be too hard on himself there, because 6th place is a good result. Obviously Connor, after you beat him, he dropped into 9th, but still a good return, and Danny Walker, who lost the top table last game to
Danny
Farmer.
and Alex.
A tough one.
Danny and Alex played each other again, and I remember I was laughing at it, and they were like, every fucking event we have to play each other. Like, what the hell?
They played game 4 or 5, I think it was. They played
5, I think.
Yeah,
4,
they played game 5. That was one of the ones where I was like, there's going to be a few. This was why I was worried about you and Dobie, because I'm like, that's going to be like their game, but on steroids, in terms of like they arguing and the we just stupid rules bickering, like trying to get an edge at each other. But it's one of those things when you're like that good mates, you butt heads, like especially when you're both trying to win. But it was funny, like some of the things in that game. But no, Danny finished top 10 as well.
Yeah.
So some good showings for some of the Scottish players this year, which is cool. Obviously, especially yourself, Casper. But well done again on 2nd place, man. Very, very cool. First, maybe next year we'll get our first Scottish win, but just to get the first Scottish 2nd place is
I'm going
step
for
in the right direction.
Next year. Yeah, I want to get a 100-point win next year, and I realise that you've got to have a goal. And I know that's a high goal, but that is
especially if you don't go to the red.
Well, I should be able to go to the hundreds. I can't go to the SCCC Greenhall one, which is really annoying.
I was going to say Greenhall might be the best opportunity next year for us to finally get a Scottish.
Because everyone's away to the Nations Cup.
Because it's the same weekend as Nations Cup, unfortunately, which is sad for our Team Scotland going to Nations Cup. That's a rubbish thing. But from the point of view of a Scottish person getting one of those red GBHL 100 dice that we talked about, there's never going to be a better chance. So we'll see how that goes next year.
So the chat is if Scottish player wins it, it's then going to be over that with the time that everyone
that's fine though. I mean, you can't take the dice off them, so they'll have that if nothing else. Exactly. Just so we can. Me and Arnold will have one GBHL 100s in the past, by the way, just long before the dice existed. But
yeah, you played against
I think we should ask for back dice.
Get some back day GBHL 100 dice stuff as well. Got a wee GBHL 100 win under his belt.
So is Zeon. He likes to point out.
He does, yes. Actually, I in one.
When he cheated everyone in. No, was it not at that camping event?
No, that was an 80. That was a GBHL 80. But he did win Battle for the Belt, which went up to 100 in Bathgate as well.
Was that the one that he... Oh, right. Was it not a 100-point event, the one that he didn't win and then got the win the next day or something?
No, that was an 80. The camping one was an 80. But no, Battle for the Belt would have been... It was like coming out of COVID. I want to say maybe 2021, maybe 2022, possibly.
Is this you talking about him taking Matthew Wilden's sword?
That was what he was talking about with the camping one.
I knew you would.
That was an 80.
Liddell was waiting to hook onto that one. And
you were the one that brought it up.
I'm innocent, though, like your show.
I was going to say, if we want to move on to some of the more hobby-based stuff at Scouring, because I think for this year, for me, like every year at Scouring, we always have like a couple of standout armies. Like we have some fantastic hobbyists over the years that have come up, like say Tommaso Zerbe, Michael Hans, Sean Sproul as well. People who've brought like fantastic looking armies, and they've rightfully won Best Painted. Alex Bordas, I think, as well. Has won it, but often the competition isn't like. Sometimes there could be some real runaway winners. Whereas this year, the standard of hobbying on the whole was incredible. Like I was so happy to see. Like we've tried to invest a bit more in the prize support for the Best Painted and that sort of stuff. We had the second place trophy as well, which we've had for the last sort of 3 years. But I think there was like 12 armies got put out. They all got at least one vote. So 12 players, so that's 24 armies on display. On most cases, although some people do just put forward one. Most of them got votes. Our winner had 12 votes, which is a good amount, but that shows the spread. Like there was so many people that were getting. I think there was like 1 on 9 and then like a couple on 8 as well. And everybody getting at least one shows it. We've got some photos here of the first and second place armies, but I did post up in the GBHL. If people can go back and want to have a look at the hobby stuff, I posted it in the GBHL, and there's pictures of all the armies because they were brilliant. Like I was dead pleased to get to sit and take some photos of them and have a good look at them because everybody kind of upped their game this year. And some were like really cool display boards. Other ones just the army, like just a high standard of painting creativity. But I obviously you guys would have had a chance to look at them as well. But I don't know if there was. But we'll talk about the winning ones as well. But if there's just some stuff that stood out for you in terms of the hobby effort.
I was winding up Andrew Kerr because I was like, he put a lot of effort into the display board. He had the big he took the 3 dragons, I think, for his evil army. And he had like the kind of glow up flame breath and all that. I was like, fucking hell, I never realised he was you're a hobbyist. And he was like, fuck, because like you say, I was quite surprised. Maybe not so much with Andrew, because actually I voted for Andrew Kerr's army at Rule of 2. I thought he had was it Mirkwood or something? Anyway, he's obviously a really good hobbyist, but he put a lot of effort in. That was one thing that I really liked.
I mean, vote for him at Rule of 2. He didn't even bring a wee light.
Oh yeah, no, big Matty Orr with a light meter.
But our winner was Frederick Needle, who had he also won Best Theme as well, which is just a prize that me and Chris and Christine vote for based on the armies that have come and stuff. But he had the Free Trolls and he had Forms Company, but they were very different from every single one of them was converted. I think the Trolls were converted maybe based on the house rolls, the new house roll for road models.
Yeah.
And the Forms Company were based on a lot of them based on Dwarf Rangers and just different dwarf models, but he tried to convert them to look a bit more like they are in the book. So like having the wee like coloured cloaks and stuff that Tolkien describes that they have in The Hobbit, and it's just really cool. Like it's a cool army, like nice board as well, but like just you can tell like there's a lot of love and effort that's went into that, because like every guy's got different reconverted weapons, and the board was quite simple, but it's nice where like it's got the campfire in there, and then Gandalf coming up with a stick to break the rocks.
Was this campfire not LED lit?
His campfire lit up as well. And super cool. Like I think that's the second best painting of the year. I want to say maybe one in Green Hollow as well. So go for hundreds. But it was really nice, and yeah, it was cool. I mean, I said like we voted for the best theme as well, just because again the theme of having the two armies side by like that. When we're looking at best theme, like we kind of want to see two armies that naturally fit against each other. So, like last year's winner of the best theme was a Battle of Pelennor. So you had like Pelennor Good, Pelennor Evil, which was cool. But like just seeing the two armies go alongside each other, and how like very Tolkien-esque they were. That's why we gave them the vote for that, and obviously 12 people gave them the vote for best painted as well, which is cool.
Right, Riders of Terran, you mean?
Aye, yes, back in the day, there's a different name for it, but. And then second place was Sam Roberts. Yeah, second place was Sam Robertson. His one was, I think it was called The Last Fire of the Withered Heath. Now, we've spoken before, our lore knowledge isn't like top notch, so I don't know if that is a scene from maybe some of the appendices or the book or whatever. But it was,
excerpt here.
He had a bit there all about it, and it was like Moria with a dragon facing off against your sort of Erebor, like Thornstone Helm list, which again really cool, nice big white dragon. The bases are weird on those big dragons now, but like again he's tied it into the board and stuff. It all looks cool, and just another a very cool kind of again creative army that he's got the backgrounds there, like describing exactly what it is, and some like real nice paint jobs on some of the dwarf, like just kind of traditional colour schemes as well, but like some of the dwarf characters stood out, and obviously I love the big centrepiece with the dragon, so
yeah,
you definitely notice the dragon.
It's a bad boy, and for me, I'm somebody I've been out of moaning about a lot of the dragon proxies this year, and that one's cool. It looks like a Tolkien dragon.
I think that's the best one I've seen.
Yeah, some of them are a bit fucking like.
Some dragons can look a little bit more like different, not Middle Earth fantasy, but more like GW fantasy or like Age of Sigmar even as well. Like
some look like they're about to have like a incense burner coming out of their mouth or something.
I think also a lot of people have base swapped previous proxies that they've had, and then they end up being not quite the right size for the base they're on.
Yeah, you kind of want to be filling that base if you can. And then that one does fills it out quite nicely, which is cool. So and then the other hobby thing we had, so well done to Fred and Sam, but the other hobby thing we had was a single mini, and again delighted with the amount of entries that we had for it. I think again I want to say 12 again for that. The theme this year was spellcasters, so we did have a lot of the wizards, but there was also some like elves in there, like some Arwyns, Kirdans, things like that as well. Again, I've posted all of these on the GBHL. They're on my private Facebook as well, so if you have a friend, like feel free to have a check. But the standard of some of these single minis was awesome, like super cool. And it was Connor Young.
I actually think that was my favourite category, the single mini, because there's something about it that was quite like. We've all played, maybe not Mark as much, but three of us, we've played for years, and there's something about the single mini voting that kind of took me back almost to like ages, like old voting for painting, because like nowadays there's so many cool display boards, there's so many cool, like everything's kind of going on, but the single mini is almost just kind of like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it actually, because it was like kind of, it's easier to focus on everyone's different work, you know what I mean? It was really good. I enjoyed that category.
It's a real opportunity to like show your painting skill, because you are just putting like, and some people are putting like hours and hours of effort into just one model. I think the Saruman.
I mean, you look at the Saruman that won it.
Yeah, I voted Saruman.
You can't expect someone to be putting that level of detail into every single warrior in an Isengard army.
No, and Connor was like thanking me for the picture I'd taken. I was like super happy with how well that photo came out, but again, testament to him how well he's painted it, because like it was a nice photo, but it's a super nice model. So It's nice to be able to
Yeah, I mean,
capture
to be
that
honest,
for
the
him.
photo's good, but it doesn't do. It's even better
In
when you see it.
person,
It was really nice.
Is it
And
just on
then
your phone that you take the picture of? You
I just
got
took pictures on the
proper camera for
phones, but I'd like just try to get as like close up and maybe take a couple of them and pick the best one, or do a little bit.
Just the
Not
lighting.
editing in
You
terms
should have
of
got Matthew
editing the
Orr's
actual
light.
quality, but just making sure that I've got the best photos I can.
I'm pretty sure it was Connor's army that I voted for best painted.
Aye, he did well. Again, him. There was a few of them had come up for Newcastle. Connor Young, Ian Young as well. He had that was the one you said you'd voted for, Mark, with the trebuchet. The Nice Minister. If you had a Gandalf the White and Pippin that he entered in a single miniature, which was lovely as well. And
are these Young's brothers?
No, I don't think so.
Well, let's not make that mistake again.
Let's not make that mistake again, but I don't think they are. But Andrew Kerr was, obviously you spoke about, he put a lot of effort into his army for best painted, but his single mini, he was second for the Radagast. And it's like got a lovely wee display piece there with the wee hedgehog and stuff on the base. And again, just looks it's a nice model, that Radagast as well. I don't know if that's I feel like that's the one that goes for loads and loads of money on eBay. That particular
it's the one
Radagast
that comes in the 4-man
White Council box.
The 4-man White Council set.
Yeah.
If it does go for a lot on eBay, I'll be getting mine sold because I bought that pack for like 20 quid a couple of years ago.
I think it's tough to get a hold of, but I could be wrong. But I guess we'll chance your luck if you want to put it up for sale.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until you were announcing the winners that I realised that I'd forgotten to actually vote.
Oh, it's a shame, but we got a good amount of votes in for them anyway.
I just finished my game and went for lunch and then kind of was trying to chill.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't mandated for the single mini, but again, we got tons of votes and a good spread between them as well, which was cool. So, I'd say I'd like, if people want to check them out, take a look at the GBHL page or my own page, because high standards, and I'm sure it'll only improve, because there's a lot of a lot of good hobbyists in the community now, more so than, not that we had bad winners in the past, because some of the armies that have won previously have been amazing, but just the level of competition is so much higher now. In terms of the depth.
The scene's doing nothing but growing, and that's going to do nothing but bring in more people that are good at painting.
And there's some, I don't know if I can even talk about it, to be honest, but I'll just I might let it be announced by the GBHL, but there's some new changes coming next year for the GBHL that should put a bit more emphasis on hobby. So it might well have been announced by the time this is out or no, but just keep an eye out for that, because there's going to be some changes to GBHL events going forward next year that, again, will shine a light onto the creative side of the hobby and stuff, which is cool, and can only be a good thing. So keep a wee eye out for that.
This is such a
I'm also doing a wee couple changes for Top Scott, actually, since you've brought that up.
Well, let's just wrap up Scouring, because there's one more thing we'll talk about quickly, and then we are running on here a little bit, but what we'll do is we'll do a quick roundup. We'll see what's kind of around the corner. We've got so many good photos that, quite honestly, I'll try and get as many as I can on this video, but if you're an audio listener, seriously, get to Scouring if you can. Tickets sell out so fast. We'll get the photos. I mean, I'm assuming you've posted most of these, Dave, have you? They must be up on the page somewhere.
Yeah, they're up. As I say, they're all on the GBHL page itself. Various posts throughout the weekend, and I was getting a lot of good, I got the wee Facebook thing that pops up. It's you're a top contributor this week on the GBHL Facebook page, which is cool.
Top fan.
All that sort of stuff. But getting a lot of good feedback from that. Feedback from the event is always great as well. But no, I mean, it was. I think we hit this was the year that we've now went over 200 unique players that have came to Scouring over the years. So we always get a few nice new faces and stuff, and then there's a lot of people that keep coming back year on year, which is a huge compliment to us. So hopefully we'll see if there's people listening out there that have never been before and they want to come. Just try and get a ticket next year, but be quick.
Yeah, I mean, even though this is one of the most competitive events in terms of in Scotland, there is such a good hobby level as well. Some people, and a lot of people, play 40k and understand the game has a bit of a stigmatism around it. Lord of the Rings, one of the best things is, we spoke about this in episode 0, is there's something there for everyone, and the hobby level competition, whatever it is. I mean, I get messages now and again of people they haven't played, but Scouring would be a great point. Unfortunately, it's a year away, but
a long way away. But if people want to, I know there's some people who this was their first one. There's some people who've had it, we have had people who Scouring's been their very first tournament, which is an interesting one. But At the start of the year, you always get some people saying they're interested in going out, which is cool. And I guess one of the other things to touch on was most sporting. We never mentioned that one, but
I was going to say
other awards that people can win. We had Jamie Moore win most sporting again for the second year in a row, which is great. Like, yeah, I mean, that's to win it back to back at such a big event. That says a lot about who Jamie is as an opponent. And
great guy.
And we had Tom Pickard and runner up as well. They were only separated. They both had 4 votes, so it came down to placement in the tournament to separate the two of them. And obviously Tom's won most sporting at Scouring before, and he's won a ton of most sporting awards in different events over the years. So two sort of pillars of the Scottish community in terms of the just real nice guys that people will get enjoyable games against. And yeah, good to see them doing well on that front.
Also doubly impressive for Jamie to win most sporting back to back whilst also doing well at the tournament as well.
He podiumed one year, did he not? I think
he has podiumed in the past. Yeah, he's one of the Scottish players who've had a third place.
Yeah, but to get most sporting votes while beating someone is difficult.
I agree with that.
That's good.
It is, and that's why I know some people will say it's a bit an arbitrary thing, but that's why we do that as a tiebreaker, because I think it's harder to get sporting votes when you're winning compared to when you're losing. Sometimes people, although it is also hard to lose, not for everyone, but for some people it can be hard to lose with a smile on your face. So if you've got people who are coming lower down the rankings and they've picked up a lot of losses, but they can still enjoy it, that can also be a tricky thing. But I think to get the most sporting vote from people when you've beat them, particularly if you're getting maybe major wins, is a tricky thing. So that's why we use that as a tiebreaker. But both guys did well to get 4 of your 6 opponents saying you gave them your best game of the weekend. Certainly quite the compliment. So
100%, yeah. Liddell, were you going to say something, mate?
No, I was just wondering. I know he's won a most sporting earlier in the year, but has he won? Does he usually? Has he, like last year when he won it? Had he won a most sporting last year before Scouring?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Certainly, we always kind of. I guess maybe people joke about it a bit more. Douglas is always the nice guy of the two, because Douglas has won a lot of most sportings. I don't know if Jamie had won one before last year, but he's won 2 back to back this year, certainly. So
fair play. Guess that sort of wraps up. I mean, we kind of briefly spoke about the night out and the social element of it. It's just great seeing so many different people. Mike, consider him a good pal. He made it there, he's loving it, and obviously, a lot of people have lost games at this point. So it's not like it's everyone takes it in good spirits. Good to see Caleb as well. It was just a great mix of people. But Mark, I'm not taking a dig at you again for leaving early.
No, I'm happy to leave it mostly unmentioned.
How did your event go, Liddell? Do you quickly speak about that? What about you, Mark? How did you get on?
It went quite shit.
I think there's a photo of the rankings, so you can see where Mark placed. If
there was nearly
elaborate on that.
Honestly, I'm surprised I was that high despite not playing to the game.
This is true.
Stoney nearly done the Witch King podcast tour because you played him, didn't you, Mark?
Yeah, he was my only one.
I kept thinking that him and Liddell were going to play because they were on a table next to each other a bunch of times.
I was so close. I was so annoyed because almost would have had to get a trophy made for that, a bit like the Tour de Moor.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing actually if somebody was to play the 4 It's obviously hard, you can't do it at Scouring, but that would be a cool thing if that did happen.
I mean, the Tour de Moor was still 3, so you could still say 3 of the 4 of us.
Yeah, especially
like a wee cheapy plastic WWE style belt made, and every time someone wins it, they have to pass it on.
But the thing is, you can definitely get a wee 3D printed Witch King or something somewhere, trophy type thing. That's maybe something for next year. A cool idea.
I done the Tour de Moor and lost to all 3 of them. It was quite depressing. I think did you just have to play them to get it, or was it
the Tour de Moor? You just had to play them.
Did you not have to beat them all in the same tournament?
No, you just had to play them all.
Definitely not beat them all because I didn't beat any of them, and I've got the trophy.
Casper lost every single one of them.
Oh, right, you just had to play them all. It definitely had to be the same tournament because I've beaten all of them.
I was caught I got grannied by the Tour de Moor. For anyone who doesn't know, there are 3 brothers who couldn't be, in my opinion, less similar. There's 3 of them. I picked them out in a lineup. But apart from the Ayrshire twang, the accent they have, they're just so different.
I think there might be a milkman involved there.
Yeah, so I said to them, I was like, you don't have a Zoom that. But the three great guys, actually, some of the best games you'll have, which is a testament to them. But basically, their surname is Moore. Lewis is quit now, big quitter.
I don't count.
That's why no one else can win that Tournament trophy. Take it off you.
He doesn't seem to be. I saw him. He played a little bit year before last. I think that's the last I was on.
But
he just he lives down south somewhere as well, I think.
He's in Jersey, actually, so like super south at the moment.
Yeah.
It's always good. I mean, they're two examples of people that are big supporters of Scouring and like come up every year for sort of Manchester area, Manchester Liverpool sort of area, and it's like great to see some of those returning faces.
Up to get drinks bought for him. Didn't give me a crap.
I mean, that works. To be fair, like
he's still buying a ticket.
He's still buying a ticket and driving up, so he's welcome back, in my opinion.
I gave him a sharp bomb at least on the Saturday night.
Good. But Scouring done for another year. Lot of work for myself and Chris. I mean, obviously we could just shout them out now, I guess, but big shout out to Chris and Christine for all the sort of help 100%. Running. Like, I'm the one talking about it here, but like it's very much like a joint effort for myself and Chris throughout the year, and then like Christine, big help at the weekend as well, like doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, like going away to try and get me another microphone as well after my bloody mic broke. That was the one downside for me. Like people meme on the megaphone, but it's so hard to talk over a room of 64 people. Like without the megaphone day 2, that was a real struggle for me, but it's fixed. It is back and working. My dad has used his electrical background and he's got the megaphone fixed for next year. So I'll be very glad to have that back because it's tough, like trying to get attention to 60 folk without just wrecking your voice. Like that was the one
that's a super good point
for me. But
I think I'll just echo that point there, Dave. Sorry that we were all pretty close with Stoff, Chris, who also co-runs this event. We did speak about getting him on for some more context, but I mean, we already get memed at for being too long on episodes and everything. So it just maybe sometime I'm sure at some point he'll win an event and we can maybe get him on.
Yeah,
for a chat,
I think there's some stuff coming maybe tail end of this year, early next year that might be quite useful to get Chris's insight on. So I look out for that. I'm not going to say any more on
Scouring,
that. But,
20,
I think he's
26. Can you any exclusives for 2026 Scouring? You looking? Is there any changes that you
can just give you the date really for it? So it's November 14th and 15th, I believe, or it's certainly that weekend if those are not the weekend dates. Next year, obviously, it's booked back in again. It's up on the calendar. Yeah, it's 14th and 15th. So minimal changes, to be quite honest. Like we've got a formula that works and that people seem to like. So probably won't be too much change unless the scenarios will be different, especially with having so many new ones to get through. We might bring back some
fishy heirlooms.
Yeah, that'll be staying, especially now that we've got cool tokens for folk to use. But I probably won't be too much change.
By the way.
Sadly, I won't be getting a cake.
No, we moved that away. We can't be having 2 birthday tournaments 2 years in a row. Like
you'll be getting a wooden spoon because you're pish.
Cheers for cheers for the 3 of you guys for coming along, and obviously any listeners that attended as well. Like the sport means a lot to us. Like I like to think we put a lot of effort into it, but the reception that we get for the community to sell out as quickly as what we did, get 64 players for the first time ever and stuff is super cool. So yeah, we enjoy it just as much. Hopefully, we enjoy it maybe just as much or even more than the people that come, because it's a cool thing to get to do, to get to put on a weekend for 64 people, a lot of whom are friends or like certainly people I've known for a long time, is a really cool thing. So cheers for the support and stuff, and well done again.
I'm the only one that's been to every single one of them, so I need to keep that up.
Yeah, I use apart from obviously myself and Chris, but in terms of as a player, yeah.
You have the dates now. Have you or Chris ever played in it 1 year, Dave?
So I played in it the very first year because TOs, like in the first year of the GBHL when it was a small sort of emerging scene, TOs could play. So I played in it year 1, and I think Chris has got a podium. He is one of the Scottish players who's got a third, and he's actually got 2 more sportings as well, from like maybe 4 years of playing in it, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so he played in the first 4 years, and that back then it was small enough I could kind of TO on my own with like a little bit of help. In terms of like setting up a spreadsheet for me and stuff. Like I was like kind of TO'd on my own because it was only in the 20s numbers wise back then.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.
Wait, Liddell, I thought you've played in your own events before.
That's not what I was talking about there. It depends. Like, I've played in another unexpected event, because that's a non-GBHL event. And I've played in that for the first 4 years, and I stood in this year. But
So
the first 4 years, I was actively going to play to win.
Yeah.
And I did twice.
I can play as a stand-in. I can play as a stand-in in Scouring, and I did actually stand in for a game this year. I had a super fun game with Ernest Appleby, which was like, that's only because I had to stand in because people like missing the first game on the second day and stuff like that. That happens. Like, usually
get missing the second game on the second day.
I usually get a couple of hungover people in that after the night out. So
we know that had fuck all effect.
As much as we're memeing Mark here, it was nothing to do with him going, and he did actually check with me that it wasn't going to cause us any hassle, which it never. But for us, it would only ever be if we were to stand in at this point. It's quite a big machine, an event that needs 2 TOs really. So preferably we don't play actually. Albeit I did very much enjoy the game I did play.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be probably reversed it throughout the course of the next year. We're coming to the end really of this year and this season, so to speak. But
yeah, still a lot to play for. Obviously, the Christmas in Middle Earth, the Scottish finale, as people refer to it, that's gone now. We weren't going to talk about it here in terms of results, but like you're going to have a lot to fill people in about Top Scotland, though, because some of those trophies are already handed out, and there's a couple of other ones still up for grabs. But the GBHL ones for the region, they are very much still in the mix this weekend in Newcastle. I think there's like 13 Scottish players going down to it. There's still, I'm still in a podium position in the region. Finlay and Ian both ahead of me, but there's quite a few people going who could catch me. I could catch Ian or Finlay. Andy Stone, he can catch Ian and Finlay as well, but we'll need very, very big performances at what's going to be a super competitive event. And there's people as well out there, other Scottish players that are going down, like Sir Rory Campbell, Stoff as well, who could get onto like the most sporting podium. So in best painted, obviously that's what that is. He's going to be going down to collect his trophy. But I think I don't know if Andrew Kerr could maybe get into like a painting master slot if he was to win it. So lots to play for in lots of different areas of the scene, and only be in Newcastle. It's like just 2-3 hours away, so I think 13 players is the most we've had at a finale, and that just shows the strength of the Scottish scene and the different awards that people are able to pick up, like WTC spots as well are still up for grabs. So we'll have lots to talk about on the next one.
Actually, Bob did Rory Campbell today, actually in Glasgow, just to get my train. He was telling me that he's heading down tomorrow night, so obviously Friday. But he said there was like 6 people going. I was like, no, I think there's probably nearer 12.
Yeah, I think it's 13 at time of recording anyway. So
yeah, a lot to play for. I think what we'll do is not to rush it, because that's just kind of going on a lot now. What we'll do is we'll get a proper cover of Top Scot when all that fell. Obviously, there's a lot still to play for. Because you have chose, so for people who don't know, even though this is a Newcastle GBHL event, this does count for all regions in terms of region GBHL, doesn't it?
The GBHL finale is a committee right nowadays anyway. In the past, it used to be run by independent TOs, but it's now run by the GBHL committee, and it rotates around the country. So it's been in Nottingham the last couple of years. This year it's in Newcastle, which is great for us. And it counts for every region. So there's quite a few of the regions that could flip. Like there's like awards that could be won by people from all over the country based on this last big event. So I think there's like
you chose
70 people
not part
going.
of Top Scotland, though. No. So, but despite that, you don't want it part of Top Scot.
Wait, what are you asking me, sorry?
Top Scot's just Scottish
finale.
events. He's saying to you that the
finale
doesn't count for Top Scot.
Oh,
right. I mean, not really.
I mean,
I think there's the fact
wondering.
that like next year it's in Swindon, for example, so there's probably not going to be that many Scottish players going next year. I don't want to say for sure there will only be, but I imagine it'll be less. Just with
also
the distance.
Like, if I'm going to message that TO and be like, "Do you mind sending me up 10 quid?" and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that element of it. Well, that probably brings us to the end then of this episode. Any other questions by anyone else? Anything else you want to go through before I sign us off?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Even though we're at the end
all
of the
happy for me.
year, still two big events really, the finale and obviously we'll cover Fraser's one, which for those who already know what kind of happened there, I think. But
Yeah, with the final episode of the year to talk about the final episode, the finales of the year.
Yeah, and the giveaway as well that we mentioned in terms of you were talking about a free ticket is that we're going to just go draw that next episode, so it'll be the last episode of the year. We'll draw the giveaway then.
I mean, if someone actually does comment,
we need people still to comment on it. So
Right, wait. The problem is, right, what we'll do is next episode we'll talk about this at the start of it because that wouldn't work. You didn't have to give it away. When is AUE, Liddle?
18th of January.
So I think
just
what
to
we'll
shout
do
out
then,
now, if people want to comment on this to get entered into the draw. What was it you wanted people to comment on, Liddle? Specifically, there was like a specific thing.
No, it was just like what you like about the game, like new changes or such, and maybe what you don't like, so sort of slight gripes. Keep it short.
So yeah, comment that on
What
this
we'll do
episode if you
is
can, and if you
will get points
if you've
for being
commented on
funny.
one of the previous episodes, that's totally fine as well. And then we'll do a
Yep.
redraw on the last episode of the year.
Christopher Murphy, you had your chance and you blew it.
I thought he did. I thought he commented. I thought he saw a comment off the.
He did comment, but he was a tit.
But I mean, like, there's like T's and C's here.
Yeah. Aye. Anyway, get your comments in. We'll get a draw.
Aye.
Somebody get a free tournament ticket. Be class.
What I think we'll do though, Liddle, because the problem is for like over 2 hours here, right? So not many people have gotten this far because we'll be bored of us. So
then they don't deserve a free ticket, do they?
Listen.
Stick it out to the end.
Next episode, we'll announce it at the start so that people who are listening and are not bored yet will know what's going to happen. So then for the following episode, you can do it because I think that's the right thing to do.
If anyone is still listening, I just sold my 18th ticket.
I'm not listening. I'm not fucking listening.
Good for you. We've sold the 18th ticket last night, so there's 17 armies selected. One person is still not decided on their army.
All right, yeah. So I just think we should keep this. I mean, if people have lasted this long, AUE, that's an event where Alan Liddle runs it. It's not a GBHL event, but there are some cool rules to it where only an army is going to get used once. So somebody's using Fangorn, it can be used again, so on and so forth. And there are plenty of legions to still be used. Do they get to choose what they use, Liddle, or do they get assigned?
Yes. No, I'm not assigning someone an army they probably don't have. That would be madness.
Well, I mean, you could have rolled first. I don't know, but they get to choose what they use.
I mean, check on Facebook. The event pack's up there, all the details to follow, and all the 17 lists, so you can check what's been spoken for already.
Yeah. And get your comments in because you can win a free ticket.
Is it a $5 for that event, Liddle?
It's just a $5. Cover the table fee and an extra £1 to go towards print-offs and frames just to hand out to the winners.
Well, I mean, I said earlier about people wanting to get involved. It's 18th of January, did you say?
Perfect way to get involved at the start of the new year as well. And then, like, once you're in, hopefully, see plenty more events to come for 2026.
I'm assuming
it's a really good introductory event to the scene, given
there's at least one new player showing up. There's usually a new player every year, actually, to be fair. That shows up. Probably is just because it's a cheap event and it's a way to get into the game. But there's at least one new person showing up, maybe two.
And also, it's like there's a lot of like kind of good players that will go, so you've got a lot to learn. Generally speaking, it's a bit more fun in terms of lists, so it's a good starting point. And
that said, last year it was all Ents and Eagles because everybody was all excited about monsters being busted in the new edition.
We know there will be plenty of variety this year, certainly.
Sorry, Dave.
I want to say there was 5 Eagle players, but at least one of them, maybe 2 of them, were part of the 2 or 3 people that dropped out. So actually only became about 3 Eagle players.
And just for anyone listening, if you're just thinking about it, you can get tickets where?
Just PayPal me £5 and then tell me what army you would like to use.
What about if people don't know who you are? Alan Liddle.
I am now a podcast celebrity.
If they go into another unexpected event, event page on the Scottish Middle Earth Players page, which we usually have a link for in the description of the video. They'll find it there. I don't think it's on the GBHL page because, again, as you said, it's not a GBHL event, just the one for the Scottish teams. So if people have a check on the event page, all the details are there, including Lidl's PayPal.
Hopefully everyone listening here is on the Scottish Middle Earth Players page on Facebook. And
if you know, get on it, 'cause it's a great resource. So.
How many points, Liddle?
450.
So quite a good introduction for someone who's maybe got some stuff. And it's not, you don't have to have fully painted, right? Or do you?
No, it was kind of designed for a whole, like, you get an army at Christmas.
Yeah.
You can try it out pretty damn quick. If you've not had time to paint it since then.
So anyone who is thinking 450 points, and maybe you've never even written a list before, 450 points, generally speaking, is not too much. You can get a couple of gaffers in there, a couple of models you might have lying around. Have a look.
Scenarios are all 4 of the Maelstrom ones.
Random as random comes, which is a good laugh. And just another thing, Liddle, this is going to be held in Bathgate, correct?
Nightly gaming in Bathgate, correct.
Nightly gaming in Bathgate. So quite central for a lot of people, somewhat, if you want to travel. Anyway, I think we'll announce this again next episode, because I just feel like probably people have turned off by now. That's just the reality of it.
I mean, you keep saying that, and then you keep asking more questions.
Okay. It's
Where
up
is
to
it?
you.
How many points?
What I'll do is maybe I'll put a post out then, and then you can do the draw in the next episode. It's up to you. Christmas draw. Anyway, I'm gone. That is me done. Right, guys, if you've lasted this long, we've discussed about it and that just now. Well
cheers,
done,
folks.
Because...
And I have a Merry Christmas for us, because this is probably the last episode that's coming out before Christmas itself, but we'll have another one out quite shortly after, hopefully for you to listen to during the old festive break.
Thanks for sticking with us. We'll now sign us off with our Rage Christmas Carol. And a 1, and a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Something's coming to town, always coming to your something magic.